What's going on, YouTube world? Steve, Vinny, Dave, the IRP, the Insert Revolution podcast, episode number 98. This and next week will be basically the same topic, but I want to sort of split it up just because, again, give ample time for everybody. And whereas the last national I was at, we'll be talking about the national. We'll be talking to some folks about their experiences, just their overall fun and excitement, or doldrums and horseshit parts or portions of the trip. But as much as we as people that talk about going to the national, like, hey, prepare for this, hey, do this, more so I think we should have more of these where people just say, hey, it's fresh on our mind, here's what happened, here's actual shit that happened. Last national I was at was 2011. Steve, I don't think's been to one. Neither has Vinny, I don't believe. So 2011, that's like 10 lifetimes ago in the hobby. So tonight we got a couple folks joining us. I was hoping for a few more. I think one more is joining us a little later. He had to go to school. So he'll be on later, but he'll give us his unique perspective. And but first, we're gonna have two first-timers. Not people that we've never spoken. Well, I don't know if we've spoken with them per se, but Steve and I especially know them because they're a couple old school guys, and that's what we're about. I know Vinny's sort of in that same boat about learning about these guys that he's picked up along the way, instead of the team schmediums and the backwards trucker hats and home ec clothes and all these clowns that literally just tumbled out of their mother's womb and had a PSA 12 in their hands. So we'll introduce them. If you haven't checked out their channels, please do so. They've been on YouTube longer than I think both at least 09, if not 08, for the elder statesmen of the group. I say that lightly because Florida is usually a retirement home, so I mean that makes sense in the end. So give your warm IRP welcome. Go with the elder statesman first. There's Paul P Daz.
What's happening, gentlemen? Good to see your faces. I miss you.
Miss you too. The old blog days were we talk about this.
Stop.
We talk about it often because it's just so much going back in that time frame. And one of the guys that was causing trouble on there was Everett. 888-888-888-888. Fucking bullshit cocksucker cunt.
Oh man. Wow.
Fucking bullshit. What's up, gentlemen?
Everett. Long time no see.
I know, it's been days, Paul. It's been days.
Yes, barely took a couple naps, and there you are again.
I know, you're like, I just can't get rid of this fucker.
I would. That's by choice. Mm-hmm.
Fair. That is a fair assessment.
Cheers to you, boys.
Cheers.
Just a water.
Cheers.
Oh, Yingling, that's my beer of choice. Unfortunately, they didn't have it at most places up there in AC. I guess they don't offer it.
Finally in Texas.
In a lot of those
You know, Paul, I could have driven with a case of Yingling and given it to you at the National.
Now you tell me.
Yingling's like you could get Yingling at any gas station in this state.
Yeah, it's all over down here too. I was kind of surprised, disappointed.
Well, we got it in August of last year, I think, give or take. Yeah. So Texas is the first state west of the Mississippi to have Yingling. So,
oh wow!
Cheers to Texas, and this is all I freaking drink these days. So, gonna go ahead and set the ground rules for you guys. There are
Okay.
no rules. That's the ground rules. There are no rules. You can say
Uh-oh.
whatever you want to say. There is nothing. There is nothing off limits. Okay, there are two things off limit: no religion, no politics. So we'll get that out of the way. But outside of that,
I'm good with that.
I'm fine with that.
it's free reign. Everybody knows who's been around long enough to hang out on the show, be here live, or just hang out in the chat. There literally is no everything is free reign pretty much. Dave goes on his tirades with every other word of fuck
Constantly.
so Everett, you'll fit in just perfect.
Oh, I
Yeah.
can handle this. I'm in.
So if for any reason there are children present in the viewing audience, make sure you have in your earphones because
Remove them.
it could get interesting.
I don't think Everett or I have any children anywhere near us. That's ordered by the courts in his case. So
I was gonna say we're no children here, just me dropping F-bombs.
drinking Fireball and dropping F-bombs.
Not on a Tuesday night. Fireball on a Tuesday night would be problematic.
It's Tuesday already? Holy cow. What happened to Monday?
That was yesterday, dumbass. Come on.
Where
now.
was I? I think I slept the whole day. Wow.
I was at work at 7:30. The sleep option would have been better.
Ooh, that sucks.
If it makes you feel any better, Everett, I go on vacation in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. And I made the failed mistake of not taking the following Monday off after getting home on Sunday. So I'll feel your pain.
I
Yeah,
used
that
to always
first day is
schedule I always made sure I took that extra day of PTO when I had to on a week when I took trips. I would always take the one extra day. You have to.
Yeah, I normally do, Paul. And so I've never taken 2 weeks off in a row from work. So this is like a big deal as it is. We have unlimited PTO, so it's not like I don't have it, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
But it's one of those in which I've taken, a week off at a time type situation. But everything kind of fell into place for this trip. So I'm taking 2 weeks off consecutively. So it's going to be interesting. I may not want to come back to work. That may be my problem.
Yeah. Hopefully the weather down here is beautiful for you. It's been hot.
It's still 100 degrees right now at 7:45.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
And yes, I know the humidity there is worse. I've been there, so I know how bad the humidity.
I get it. I've been over
but
there
our
too.
Our humidity the last freaking month and a half has been horrendous. So it's been bad. So Dave, I don't know where you want this to run, who you want to ask first. So
well, we're not going to run anywhere because if we did, we'd be dead. Any of us running would cause catastrophic failure for A, the ground, and B, anybody near us.
Speak for yourself, Dave.
I still try.
I know you are. For a while there, the pictures on Facebook of the running, I'm like, man,
yeah,
I sweat that much at work.
Yes.
And I don't know if I could do that on my own. I couldn't, but I mean,
it took a lot of commitment to get out and do it every day for a while there. I'm back at it. I just haven't been posting too many pictures. I got to get back at doing that. That was keeping me accountable for a while there.
Yeah. I'll ask both of you. We did go over it right before we went on, but to have it on the recorded portion of the show, national number, what for both of you? I'll let Everett go first.
8th one. First one was 2013, and 8th one total. Second one in Atlantic City.
Okay. Paul?
And this would be my 5th because of missing the one when there wasn't one. But I started in AC. I guess that was 6 years ago, and then Cleveland, Chicago, I guess, right? Back, forth, and then back to AC now. So, yep, I guess that's 5th.
General thoughts as an overview on the show, then we'll get into specifics as we go along. Paul.
General thoughts. Wow. I will say it was an absolutely wild show from the very, very, very beginning. It was clear that it was going to be packed. Everybody was anticipating because of the number of international people that were, 2 years from being able to travel for the big shows that they love to come to. German collectors, Asian collectors, the Croatian people. There's, I'm just naming a few because I've met them all, but there's a lot of people out there that have died to get back over, for these big shows that they don't have access to. And of course, everybody considers the national as the, if you're going to travel for one, you plan the national trip, which is why those of us that have gone go to it each year if you can. And there was a lot of excitement from the beginning. There was also a lot more corporate presence in the corporate space. Many, many, many companies and brands that have grown significantly over the last few years. Some good, some bad. Like you say, the half shirt mafia or whatever you say, whatever you said before. There's a lot of good, a lot of bad, if you want to call it bad. I kind of feel that they all have their own space in the hobby. I guess there always was that group that maybe we all didn't see ourselves as the true collectors, the old school collectors. But those people also want to gamble and spend their money and blow through group breaks and go after the high end cards and the high end breaks. I mean, there has to be that, or else we wouldn't be able to buy our Walt Frazier autos off eBay all day for the first 2 weeks when products come out. So there's a place for it, but this year there was so much of it. I mean, the way it was set up, there was an entire space double the size of the normal breaker area, I would think. And then there was a whole other space on the other side that was like whatnot fair carnival. I mean, it was just, they had the gun ride, the gun games with the water gun shooting the little guys, like that kind of thing. They had it was a fair, man. They had wooden setups for the bottle throws. I don't know, just it was like a fair literally in one little section, and it was just a bunch of younger loud screaming whatnot / breakers, and I wouldn't even like calling them breakers really, because that kind of disrespects the old school actual breakers that plan out their products and prices and do the work. But aside from that, there was also a lot of people that we all love to see and talk to and get along with and enjoy hanging out with and grabbing dinners and that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, being an AC, I think you miss out on that real camaraderie of just being able to get out and walk around and have fun, because it's friggin' dangerous there. I mean, you'll probably hear there was a couple incidences and people got jumped and crazy stuff. I mean, there's young kids running around those streets there that are just looking for trouble, which is scary. So luckily nothing happened to me or anybody I know personally. As far as the show goes, man, the variety was nuts. There were way more tables than normal with vintage and varieties of stuff like that, not just ultra modern. If you're used to all your local shows, sometimes you see the same stuff over and over and over again. So National is the one place where you're going to see anything you're looking for. That's it. I had a great time. I kind of stayed out of trouble and just stayed in the in my I had to switch rooms halfway through because I only reserved 3 days, and then I ended up staying at the entire 5 days. So I stayed by my room and didn't do much else. Went to dinner with a couple guys a couple times, and pretty much enjoyed the show from open to close all 5 days. So had a really good time. Luckily, my travel was easy with no delays, and got back home safe. So I'd say it was probably about an 8.9 on the Portnoy scale of card shows, but could have been a little higher if it weren't for the frightening surroundings of the boardwalk and the needles and the people that you kind of avoid when you're not wanting to get in trouble. So had a good time though. What about you, Everett?
Well, the first sign that this national was going to be a little more chaotic than what I had been used to was I bought the VIP pass, so I got there about 3:30 on Wednesday to pick it up. Now, years past, usually you could literally pick up your VIP bag and you were done within 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Took 45 minutes to get through the VIP line at that point. Like Joey, Birdcat 8 and Army ATC 22 Alex were both in the general admission line, got in the show a good 20, 25 minutes before I did on Wednesday.
Wow, that's interesting.
Like, it was chaotic as hell.
Wow.
Like, that was kind of the first omen that this wasn't going to be, I guess, the usual nationals that I'd come to, be accustomed to.
Mm.
And Wednesday, I felt like wasn't as horrible on foot traffic as Thursday, Friday, and Saturday were.
Oh, really?
All three of those days, at times, it felt like you needed the Jason Voorhees machete special to get through some of the aisles.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I know I told Joey at one point Saturday, if someone else bumps into me, I might, office linebacker Terry Tate their ass.
Well, you got a lot of junk in the trunk there, Everett. You take up some space in the aisles. You got to be careful.
My humps. But no, like it. Definitely, in comparison to Atlantic City 6 years ago, it felt like they were using more of the floor. 6 years ago, there wasn't even a Breakers Pavilion. I think the first year for that was like 2018, 2019.
Yep.
And now you have your whole Breakers Pavilion section. Oh, I forgot to wear a crop top for this show tonight. Damn it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you have that. You have, as Paul said, the Whatnot area. Interestingly enough, like I feel like Panini, in comparison to prior years, was a lot quieter than usual. It felt like as far as
no Tracy Hackler.
Mm-hmm.
I think that plays a lot into it because he was the marketing guy.
Yep.
And what was also interesting, which I thought they did a real shit job of communicating on, was the whole redemption replacement process this year. Like, I wasn't aware until like less than 2 weeks before the show, and by that point it was already too late, was that for any redemption replacements they were only doing booking appointments only, which honestly in the whole scheme of things is probably what they should have been doing for years.
Yep.
Better late than never, but I feel like the communication of that went about as well as Kyle Shanahan does at managing a big lead in an important football game. It was shit.
That's not good, huh?
No. It was more atrocious than my singing, for crying out loud, and none of us need to hear that shit.
Oh wow!
But
these are facts.
But kind of the add-on to what Paul was saying, compared to Chicago, where a ton of people are usually rooming in the same one or two hotels, and it's pretty easy to organize social activities where there could end up being 10, 15, or 20 people within a setting.
Yeah.
With how Atlantic City is and how a lot of the hotels are spread out within only a couple miles, but still spread out within a couple miles, not so easy to coordinate. And if you're walking around at night, you probably need a prison shake and some brass knucks potentially.
And also way less people driving their own vehicles and wanting to go back and forth on their own. You had your own car, but very few people, I think, live within driving. It seems like barely anybody either had their own vehicles or cared to drive anywhere. People were just walking within their own little area.
Yeah, and I mean, the car came in handy and then some a few times during the week, but Atlantic City's not necessarily one of those where you want to be driving around. Compared to Chicago, it's a paradise to drive around.
Yep.
But I think like the only con of the week almost was 6 years ago we were at Caesars, where the boardwalk was pretty accessible to us, which 6 years ago, it felt like, other than, maybe you might get your eyes gouged out by a seagull out there. If you've never been on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, seagulls are like the honey badger. They don't give a fuck. They do what they want.
They were dive bombing you.
Oh, yeah, they're dive bomb you. They're ton of bitch for a freaking fry. But it definitely felt like, I guess for a con, not as much, not as easy to meet up with people. And like, I'm still trying to figure out where the hell all these, 10, 12, 14-year-olds that have sport cards collections that I would have given my left and right nut for and part of my liver for when I was like in college.
It's incredible.
Like, oh, you got 3 Luca freaking NT autos? What the fuck? Like, who are you? Where did you get this money from? What the heck?
It's absolutely nothing for a kid to be 16 and under carrying thousands of dollars in both cash and cards. all over the show. It's wild.
Yeah,
It's nice to have rich parents.
I don't even know. I can't even say that anymore. Not because it can't be all of them. I mean, it's
Some
crazy.
of them,
Yeah.
some of them, but others, it could be very. I mean, they put in the work. I mean, it's always possible. You just don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to take away from the youth of the hobby actually not putting in the work and hustling in order to build a collection, because I'm sure that there are quite a few of them out there that have done it, and kudos to them. But and this is my own personal opinion, I still feel like the higher percentage of them, it's because of mommy and daddy.
Yeah. I mean, you got to have some money to start, right?
yeah. I felt like I was low class in comparison. Like I know the big deal I made, I think, during the week was I did like a $1,500 trade purchase on a card, and it's like I think for some of those kids that would have been like, I did that in my sleep this morning on Instagram or some bullshit like that.
Yeah, and they're used to this culture within the last couple of years is that they're used to these big shows having these massive, wild trade night frenzies where they can just do deals all night without being across the table from somebody who paid for their space. So they wait and they attack these trade nights aggressively because they know they can get deals done with their peers instead. It'd be like us on YouTube trading straight up, card for card, just real simple, easy, make it simple. What do you want? What do I have that you want? What do you have that I want? Let's make it work. And they're way more easy to get done when you don't have to think about losing 20 or 30% when you're only with it. If you're worried about values, hey, if we're within a 5 or 10%, that's better than when I was going to sell it to the guy at the show earlier for minus 30%. So let's get the deals done. Let's figure out what we both want. Those trade nights are wild. And those kids, a lot of those younger kids are able to flip their way up at those trade nights with what they bought during the show, and then the next day they do it again. The next day they do it again. They leave the show over the weekend with way more than what they came in with just by doing it 3 days. It's a hustle, man. I've had to learn from these kids because I've been sitting up at shows for 2 years now, and I would just bring my collection, extras, sell, maybe buy a couple things that walk up to me, and I'd leave with the same shit I showed up with, maybe a little more, a little less money, and a few less cards, a little more cards. That'd be it. Now I'm really trying to cycle through inventory quicker because it's really the only way to actually make money is more transactions. I mean, you can't make it all in one shot because then somebody gets screwed and nobody wants that. So
no, I mean kind of to piggyback off of what you said, the Thursday night trade event inside the National, I can't remember who helped organize that one. I feel like Card Collector too.
Yeah, I think it was Ryan. Yeah,
but that was bustling in there for a better part of 3.5, 4 hours, and
yes,
it got to the point where
COVID was there as well.
Oh, COVID was
COVID
there,
was the guest of honor
or dishonor in this case, but it got to the point where, like, I know I was just kind of chilling out. I didn't have any of my stuff out, but I started just like got a few cards out on the floor. That's what a lot of people started to do, and
yeah, it's wild.
I mean, it was the younger kids are not afraid to wheel and deal accordingly. I will give them credit on that. They will shoot their shot. They're shooting it like Kobe would. If they brick, they brick. If they hit, they hit. But they're taking, I'll give them credit on that. They're willing to fire their shot and see what happens. And it was rather interesting to kind of observe a bit, how much they're willing to wheel and deal among themselves, with some of the higher end cards they have. It's just like, holy shit.
Yeah, I feel like they have way less ties or connection or emotional hold on any of their cards. They're willing to just wheel and deal whatever for the most part. Very little some cards are hard to let go of for most of us, right? They don't feel any of that with them ever, because most of them are just into football quarterbacks or Herbert and Burrow. It's all the same thing over and over again. Very few of them collect like John Elway on card autographs from the Upper Deck era, or hey, there you go, Steve. You know what I'm saying, though? There's barely any of them in there. In fact, when you meet somebody who actually, when they say they actually collect, I collect, certain teams or certain players, it's totally different because most of them don't really have an answer when you tell them when you ask them what do they collect.
Yeah, you could say Joe Montana. They're like,
they don't collect anything, and they can literally carry around their whole. Could you imagine being able to go to a show and have your whole collection, Dave, in one Zion card case, 3-row case, one of these cases. This is literally every card they own in there. There's slabs and mags and raw cards and everything, and they're at a show and they're hoping to leave with more than what they came in with. It's crazy.
And then there's others like some of us who have, closets and rooms full of shit.
That's all of us. Yeah, I think that's I had to fill out a form to get on this show that said that was me.
So I am going to ask the question though. So Paul, I know as you alluded to, you set up, over the last couple of years at various shows. Not that this question is tailored to that, but there was a lot of rumblings that I've noticed in conversations and text messages and videos that early on throughout the show, like at least the first 3 days or whatnot, dealers were hesitant to really negotiate anything. Not to mention the prices seemed, and I'm going to use the terminology, 2x and 3x, more than what they should be. Granted, we all understand their setup. It's an expense to set up at the National. It's not cheap. So it's a lot of money that you're fronting,
of course,
to be set up there. So I mean, at a bare minimum, you want to at least break even.
Yep.
But and Paul, I'll kind of start with you though. Was that your same experience as it pertains to the dealers not really willing to negotiate, and the fact that prices seemed a little bit higher than what they normally would be?
I'm going to say that for me, no, but I'm going to say that I hear that at every show, whether it's a 20 table show in my neighborhood Shriners that we have, or it's a 500 table. There's always going to be people, oh yeah, the dealers are all too high. They're all trying to sell at 2020 prices. Well, yeah, of course there's going to be people in the room that are just sticker pricing high. Well, listen, when you go to a show, do you price your cards or not? Some people don't even price their cards, right? Some dealers do. Some people go to a show and they say, oh, the guys that don't even have their cards prices, I would never deal with you if you don't price your cards. You got to price your card. You got to price your card. How can you price every single card? Well, then other people say, oh, he priced his cards. They're all too high. They're all too high. I don't want to buy from them. Well, you can't complain. So if you choose to price your cards, okay, you're in this hand. You're a dealer who likes to price your cards. Just like listing on eBay, you got to list it a little high and accept offers, right? That initial sticker is never, when have you ever paid the initial sticker price on a card anywhere? It happens sometimes, but very rarely are you going to be looking on eBay one day and see a card you need and hit the bin instantly because the price it was listed at. If that ever happens for me on a rare PC card, I feel like I stole it because I was able to buy it literally at the price it was listed at before somebody else saw it. I feel like I stole it. That rarely happens at a show either. Generally speaking, these dealers aren't putting cards out below pricing. You're putting it out a little bit above, just like you would anywhere else. Now, are some of them higher than that? Sure. Some of these guys probably only set up at a show every couple months or once a month or every 3 months or even once a year at National. They might have inventory that's a little old and stale, and they're not checking every single number. They might have stickers on them from a while ago. Who knows? Some cards might have gone up. Honestly, what about Aaron Judge, or what about a couple other guys you could probably name? Aaron Judge, the easiest example for me of one of the few guys whose cards are actually way up right now. And I'm happy about that, by the way. But
of course,
seriously though, what if you're a dealer and you had all your cards priced with last month's prices and in your showcase with a bunch of judges? Do you think the guy that walks up to your table is going to complain because most of your cards are priced too high when there's a bunch of them that are also priced too low because you're pricing them off last month's prices? No, of course not. But anyways, I find like a lot of the people that say that or bring that as their main takeaway from a show like that are really just whiners and complaining. To me, it's just finding the negative in something that's really not negative. Are they going? Yeah, you know what? Guess what? If that dealer's prices are too high, they're probably not going to sell their card anyway. So what's the point? Find the next dealer. There's so many dealers in the show to deal with. The other thing I would say is that if you don't have any dealers that you do deal with, you probably need to get to know more dealers. You probably need to go to the shows and get to know the dealers and get to know the people. I could walk around that show and say hi to literally 100 different people that I know, the RBI crew and the entire group, everybody in all these groups, we know them. If I need a card from one of those guys, I guarantee you they're probably going to give me a pretty damn fair deal, right? If there's a card I'm looking, in fact, my entire stack of cards that I walked away with, I feel very comfortable with every single price I paid, if not excited because the dealer I know very well that I've done business with for a decade was happy to give me a fair price because they know I'm looking at cards. Now, if I was at their table saying, hey, I'm looking for quarterbacks, I want on-card autos, and I want, NT RPAs of all the top guys. I want them raw. I want them mint or better condition because I'm going to grade them. You think that guy's going to be giving away his stuff to me because I'm trying to get stuff to flip? Of course not. I mean, they have to find a middle ground. So I think the kids that complain about that are really the same kids that are looked at as the little hustler flippers, and the dealers just don't want to deal with them in some cases. I mean, they really don't, because they know that they don't care about the cards. A lot of those dealers go to those shows to find the end user, the end collector, not the middle guy that's just going to flip it the next day. I mean, the whole point is that you're trying to find the actual collector. You're trying to find the guy that wants to pay the actual price. Well, why would you want to find a bunch of middlemen? That's not going to help you in any way. So do you want to make money to pay for your table? Yes, actually, yes. That's the whole point. You're at the table. You bought a table to expose yourself to the end consumer, the actual collector. And it's okay to be patient for the first few days. I've actually sold a lot of stuff on Sundays that I wouldn't have sold on Friday. You know what I mean? It does happen. You get to the end of the show and you're like, all right, this didn't go at my price. I tried. Let's put together a stack and sell it to the next guy that wants to buy a few cards. You know, I'd rather leave with a couple grand in my pocket than the same 20 cards I had the last 2 months, you know? So
Right.
that's how I feel about it. I feel like some people just really try to find the negative. And also I'll say this, they're probably also the same people that have barely been to any shows, and they're probably been in the hobby for just a couple of years. They're mostly newer COVID collectors. If you have old school collectors like us and they're going to shows and they're still saying that, I would probably tell them to just maybe they got to look at it a little bit different. They really do, because they're not finding the opportunity at a big show. If you're not able to find, I mean, Everett, I mean, seriously, there's cards everywhere, right? You can find what you're looking for.
Oh, I'm kind of to piggyback off what you were saying. I think a lot of those that are complaining about the prices at times, some of those are the ones that expect to be able to get items 40% off of eBay comps.
Mm-hmm.
If you're expecting that,
Hey, that'd be me because I'm a cheap ass.
Yeah.
But I also don't go to shows, so that's not me complaining.
well, but if someone's going, I'm going to find steals 40% off of eBay comps, you're probably going to have a bad time at a show like Nationals.
Yes, of course.
Now, Generalization were prices high at a lot of tables. Yes,
Yep.
they were more like your recreational marijuana user high compared to Snoop Dogg high in some cases. But I mean, they're also.
Can you explain that analogy? I didn't catch that one. I'm not sure if I'm following you.
Okay.
Because I'm kind of high, so you're gonna have to gonna have to explain that. Just kidding. Not really.
But there were pockets of dealers that not only had stuff priced reasonably, but I thought had stuff priced extremely fairly. Like one of my major pickups at the show, I ended up getting a Johnny Unitas PSA 4 rookie.
Oh wow!
Well, what was funny was the one dealer had like what looked like a stack of Unitas rookies. He had his PSA 6 showing, which was about 2 or 3 grades above what I would have been looking for. But I asked him, hey, is that a stack of Unitas rookies? He's like, yes. I'm like, what's the lowest grade you have? Which ended up being one of the 4s, and
nice.
He had a sticker of 550, and I just took. This was one of the moments where the internet actually worked in the convention center for 30 seconds. I was able to take a look, be like, wow, he's actually got this priced very reasonably. So me being a slight cheap ass, I'm like, he's got a sticker of 550. I'm going to offer 5, see where this gets me. And he took it. No ifs, ands, or buts. And I mean, some of the other deals over the week, if you find a couple of cards that you're interested in and the dealer gives it, dealers are willing to, some of them are more than willing to work with you, especially if you're willing to buy a couple of cards off of them. They're like, hey, if you're interested in, 3-4 cards, they're often willing to hack a little bit off. It's just, you can't go in expecting you're going to be getting stuff at 40, 50, 50% off of eBay comps. And that's going to be where, Johnny B, little Susie or little Johnny at times, Mr. Flipper Von Flipper.
Flipper Von Flipper. Yes,
he's Flipper for Dolphins, by the way.
Yes.
But, where those guys are not going to have a good time, but was there stuff out there that was priced unbelievably stupidly high? Yeah.
I'll add to that, though. I feel like some people don't really think about from the dealer's perspective, a lot of times they are there to showcase some of their nicer items that they really don't want to sell. I mean, you have to understand they don't want to sell every card they own, right? They don't. I never want to sell everything I bring to the show. I certainly bring, yeah. No, I'm not saying you don't get it. I'm saying a lot of people that complain about that kind of thing, they don't think about the fact that that dealer might just have a lot of really, really high-end stuff that they're showcasing to help them sell some of their other stuff. Or a lot of times you showcase the items that you also want to walk up to your table. Because if I'm walking up to the table and I see a bunch of baseball autographs, retired player autographs, Hall of Fame autographs, you know, whatever, I'm going to be more likely to have a discussion with that guy about a bunch of the stuff I'm trying to sell. If I'm trying to sell a bunch of Hall of Fame 2000 era autos, you know, that kind of stuff. If they got only vintage and I'm walking up there with graded prism, it's probably not the dealer that I'm going to ask, are you buying graded prism today? You know, it doesn't make any sense. So a lot of dealers not only will showcase their nicer cards that they don't want to sell, but also a lot of guys that are younger right now, I don't think they understand really how to judge comps and really how to understand the varieties of what people will pay for cards, whether the quality of an auto on one card is way better than another, or if the pictures were way nicer on a certain listing, or if it ended at a terrible time, or the seller's reputation didn't look good, or the listing itself was simply terrible, or the subgrades on the night. Because I'll be honest with you, a lot of these newer collectors don't even know that BGS is actually a real grading company that's trustworthy and's been around forever. It's so crazy how BGS has fallen off in the mind of the new collector when all of us know that they're, you know, in my opinion, the best actual grade we've always had, right? PSA is, of course, amazing, and we respect PSA as a slab, but if you want the most reliable grade, whether you trust them or not, a subgrade gives you a detailed breakdown, and we've always trusted the Beckett grade, right? So when they're looking at comps, they don't understand the difference between a 9.5 with minimum subs and why some people pay so much more for one that doesn't have that or has great subs, or, you know, if the centering's the 9 or the surface is the 9 or vice versa. You know, there are many collectors out there that actually care about all that, and that does add to the sales values of a lot of these cards if you don't know that. So I think a lot of people just judge too quickly on stuff like that. They're too quick to judge on comps based on rare cards when, man, if there's only one of these that sell every few months, you can't tell me that, you know, you can't tell that dealer that card is only worth that number just because one sold that way, you know, or vice versa. You can't try to undersell it just because of that or oversell it because of that. The other thing about it is the really common stuff. Dealers are willing to give it away. Dealers want to sell that stuff because they can replace it anytime. If I can sell 10 Zion prisms, you know, for 180 each, I'll sell whatever they are because I know the next guy that walks up to my table is going to be willing to sell them to me at 150 or 160, you know, whatever the number is. So I don't know. The easy to replace stuff should be able to move no problem. The harder, the rarer stuff, I find the newer collectors have a way harder time understanding value and comps, and the dealers just aren't willing to budge because they know they don't have to.
Now, there's one like specific aspect that I feel like that market's almost underpriced, which I kind of get though, because for a lot of people that are flying in, it's not so easy. But like frame memorabilia, like, you know, the frame 15 by 20 signed frame photo, you know, photos framed.
Can you spell that for us?
Yeah. No speak proper English in here today.
No.
But no, like I know there were some you know tables where I'm like my mouth was watering a bit. I'm like, you know, if I had real space to display a lot of these, I could spend. And had the cash. Oh boy, I would have been spending $2,000 on some framed photos.
Yep.
Like a lot of that stuff is not only priced fairly, but is priced unbelievably well. I feel like, for, you know, like for the caliber of player. Like I'm talking like for football, for example, like Emmitt Smith framed 16 by 20 that's got a Beck, you know, I think it's like 200. It's like, what the heck? And it's like solid frame. It's like there's definitely pockets of stuff that if you're able to take advantage, or, you know, it's something that fits your personal collection, you could end up getting really good deals on certain stuff.
Definitely.
But it's just what you partially said. It's perspective, and I get that dealers, they're there to make money at the end of the day. One way or another, their goal is to make a net profit for the week. And it's like, you know, some stuff, I totally get the logic of, you know, museum pricing almost, in that if you have this super rare piece that you might be able to attract somebody eyes to your table, that they might spot, oh, hey, they have this, nice Hank Aaron autograph at a reasonable price, or hey, they have this card I've been looking for 2 years, or so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely, the deals are still out there on the convention floor. You have to look a little harder. And when in doubt, ask questions. If an item's not priced, you have to ask the question. And it's not that complicated at the end of the day. I mean, if you have that attitude, oh, they don't have a sticker price, I'm not going to. They don't have a price that I could readily see on the card, I'm not going to ask. You're losing out on some potential deals.
Mm-hmm.
Communication skills and card collecting are not direct relations. They're not in direct relation in all cases, right? There's a lot of people out there that just are not good at asking, not good at talking. They're not comfortable approaching. There's no conversation skill whatsoever. How can you expect to have a pleasant negotiation or get a deal from a guy if you're not even able to engage in a conversation? And that goes for some of the dealers too. But again, I feel like the people complaining about pricing in many cases, I don't know, a lot of times it falls on the person just to be more understanding, be a better shopper, be a better buyer, be a better, like I said, be a better buyer. There's two, it takes two people to get a deal done. So
how did you feel going off that the dealers were? Because a few of the videos I've watched, and again, it happens every show, big, small, in between. The cell phone's always buried in the cell phone. If somebody walks up to the table, I don't need somebody to be like looking around like a dog waiting for its owner to come home. Like, is that him? Is that it? Is that her? I don't need to have you sitting down looking at your phone if I'm walking up. I'm a cumbersome individual. You should sense my presence and be at least polite enough to slightly tilt your head so you can see me.
Totally.
And that's where I'm like, man, if that doesn't happen and you're sitting there and I'm looking and I still see you looking at the cell phone, I don't care what's in the case. I'm fucking dipping, because I'm like, you don't give a shit about the sale. Why should I fucking care about giving you money?
I think that goes back to one of those things that I hear a lot, and you probably all heard it. It's like every single person should have to work at least one restaurant or retail job, as they start, 16, 17, 18, 19 years old. You should have to work in the service industry. You should have to learn basic sales skills, basic communication skills, basic register skills, money counting. Like, it's that joke when you go to Burger King and your total is $7.95 and you give the kid 10, 95, or you know what I'm saying. You give them the exact change and they look at you like, oh, you gave me too much, and they try to give you back the quarters and the nickels, and you're like, no, look, that's just hit the button. 10.45. You owe me $3 even. I'm trying to get it even. I don't want the and they look at you like you're an alien. It's the same thing with the deal. A lot of people just have zero communication skills, and not to pat my own back, but I feel like
customer service.
Yeah, one of my biggest things is that, man, I'm smiling and I'm saying hello to everybody. Walks up to my table. I'm hey man, come on over. What can we do for you? Anything you're looking for? What type of cards you hunting for today? What do you collect? It's just a basic thing that you'd think everybody does, but they sure don't, Dave. You're right. I cannot stand.
There was one of the guys that I was with had told me this after. You reconnect after the end of the day or whatever, and he's a type they're looking for sort of rarer stuff. So it's when they see stuff that they like, it sticks out because they just don't see it everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And so they saw some food or beverage regional issue, and him and another buddy were just sort of like commenting on it, like, wow, man, like that's the only one at the show. And his response to that was, gee, aren't I lucky? So just kind of like, no, just cold, very cold. And I wonder if that's sort of a result of the disconnect between maybe the old school vendor dealer versus the new school seller, pushy, and
for sure.
I mean,
So that's their way of like, well, you know, I'm not getting. They're not going to get one over on me, so I'm just going to be a bastard.
For sure.
I mean, you figure for a lot of these kids, outside of like a national like show, a lot of them, the only experience that they probably have doing deals are through either Instagram or various card forums or Facebook.
Yep.
So it's not like with those, they have a lot of in-person experiences, you know, directly dealing with people.
But they've watched a lot of their influencer idols do them on YouTube, and that's where they're taking their cues from.
Yeah, well, that's I think a whole other discussion on,
Yeah,
you know, who they deem as their idols, and that could snowball into
Yep.
debauchery. But Paul,
Sure.
you're absolutely. I agree with the whole discussion where everyone should at least at one point work some sort of service industry or customer service. I know my past life, working a couple of summers during college doing online clothing orders for a company that mainly did, you know, clothing orders for, you know, older people. You know, you got to have some customer service skills to survive that job.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Imagine me at a computer desk taking clothing orders from a 75-year-old woman.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to imagine that. Hold on.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's all take a moment and picture
wow. I actually do. I can picture you taking orders from an old woman, actually, and not over the phone.
I walked right into that one.
Yes, you did,
Yeah,
Everett.
you did.
Yes, you did. It could be worse though, Everett. My wife works with Medicare eligible people, so mess with old people's insurance and reimbursement and stuff. And you want to talk about dealing with some interesting
I can imagine on holy hell.
And she's a supervisor, so she gets all the escalations.
Oh, my condolences to her.
I have one last comment on that. Also, I was thinking about it. You have a lot of guys that are dealers now that are literally brand new still at the entire hobby. You know what I mean? Not just as dealers, but then there's also guys like me that are old school collectors that for one reason or another have transitioned over to the other side of the table now. So some of us we get it. You know, we're actually just there. We totally get both sides of it. We totally get the card industry. We totally get grading. You know, we're old school. We get all of it. And then you have other ones that are literally clueless other than PSA 10 Prism base equals X. You know, they can look up a comp and they can look up the common stuff and they know how to use Card Ladder. They know how to scan the front of the card for whichever app they think is the best one for them or whichever influencer they pay for their subscription for following advice on. And that's it. They know sneaker releases, they know video games, and they know whichever influencer they follow for the sports card world. And that's it. They don't know the old school stuff whatsoever. So there's really two totally different sides of the spectrum there. And I think one of the most important things when you're walking up to the table is to kind of figure out who you're talking to. You're talking to like an old school dealer that kind of gets it all, understands it, has a lot of cost. They're legit. They're actually pay taxes. They have a business, you know, like a real dealer, or is it just some young, you know, newer person? Give them all a chance. But if I know that's who I'm talking to, I know they're going to handle the entire transaction totally differently. So
before we go any further, anybody have a hockey card that Eric can be shown real quick so he'll shut the F up for at least the next 30 minutes? There you go, Eric. Oh, Bob's even got one too. Anybody else?
Hockey? Do I have any hockey cards anywhere?
I got football and football.
Oh, there you go. There's a jambalaya.
I don't think I even own a hockey card.
Bell hockey.
Then you ain't a real collector, man.
Yeah. I had a couple. I sent some Young Guns to PSA in my last order, and they went, or not my last order, but one of my last ones to come back. I sold them all already, though.
I've been on the Young Gun kick for the last 3 years. It's kind of fun.
I had a Connor McDavid. I sold that about 5 years too early. Good call.
I was going to say you probably sold that too early.
What was that?
I said, yeah, you probably sold that too early.
No hockey cards.
As most of us who've been around long enough, there is no right time. There is no right time to sell. The time you decide to sell is the wrong time.
Never the right time. Always the wrong.
It always happens. It happens that way.
I've been there so many times.
So we've satisfied Eric at least for the next 30 minutes. Bob, hopefully the band meeting went well. So we've got Paul and Everett's initial thoughts of the show. kind of your early on sentiments and how it went, the experiences, the enjoyment of housing with what was it, 8 guys, I think.
Oh Lord, old
I had
school.
6 other dudes in the house that I was at. That was super easy. We had the space. It was about a mile outside of the show, so that was fun. I really looked forward to going back. Some people would come visit us because we had a nice little back deck area, so it provided what we need for social gatherings for sure. But the shows, like, I don't know, man. I only have one other national to pull experience from, but so I didn't go with the big budget.
Right.
I went with a bunch of cards to sell, which, so until I really got some money in my pocket. Hey, what's up, Rick? Rick, speaking of somebody who bought something from me, Rick provided the first little like breathing room.
Nice.
Yeah, Rick, it was such a good time. I can't really read that. Yes. Yeah, I sold it. I sold my PSA 5 86 sticker to Jordan sticker to Rick.
Ooh, I need one of those actually.
Yeah, I got a PSA 8 hanging back, so we'll just hang on to that one for a little bit. But so I usually start slow at the National. I had in mind a couple, some 90s insert Shaq that I didn't have that was rare, or which I saw the linchpin early with the guy. He wanted $1,000 for it. Yeah, it's not $1,000 card, but I really wasn't in a position to make any moves yet. When I went back, that was gone. But I was looking for a Topps Chrome refractor rookie of Randy Moss as well, and didn't even see one of those. So it was kind of weird. Lots of just patch autographs, lots of Josh Allen, lots of Jim Brown and Clemente were, I overheard, were just getting asked repeatedly.
Oh yeah.
I bought more from people outside. I bought more from people outside the show, I think, than inside. If you don't count like the 2 wax boxes I bought. Bought a card there and sold the card there for $10 more than I bought it, just because he wanted it. So okay, I could pick up a 04 Bowman Chrome Fitzgerald another time. So I heard the whispers of it just being a negative thing. T-Mobile's reception was not as bad as Verizon's. I was able to get service pretty much half the times I needed to, but I go outside regularly anyway, so it really wasn't an inconvenience for me, the reception part. I did see a lot of I didn't live up to I wanted to track down some of those influencers and sort of just troll the backgrounds of their videos if at all possible. But
pick your nose in the background.
Yeah, right. I saw I was actually shopping at Santiago. I didn't even know it, and then I felt his man bun near me, so
oh no,
yeah, it happened. But really, those guys, they do their thing. Lots of just deals going on, man. And I hear the dealers talk about the younger kids, and it just like, they have some tremendous stuff, that's that. You got kids almost just they got one little Pelican case that holds one row of cards, but each card in there is a comma card,
Yep.
So now I had sold a big chunk of my stuff to one particular dealer Friday maybe, and so he was looking at the stuff and he asked one card, what are you looking for on that? And took a beat, gave him a price, and he sort of paused and was like, almost, okay, like, you're for real. Like, I wanted to, let's throw one out there to see where you're at on it. See, I mean, because if you're telling, if you want 95%, you know what I mean? Like, so, and in the process of him looking through my stuff, a kid came up with just a huge suitcase. And I'm sure the dealers like looking at people's stuffs, but like, they've probably seen enough Zion and Ja Morant and all that, a lot of that stuff in there. So he said, yeah, I'll look at your stuff, but answer me this question. You have $100 card. What are you trying to sell it to me for?
Yep.
And the kid's like, $20 less. He's like, well, the market's turning down for a lot of stuff that I've been seeing today. That card will be $80 next month. So you gotta do me better than that. And so I sold some nice stuff, but nothing that I can't get back at some point in the future if I so desired. And then that cash, I was able to bring home more money than I took with me, and I had a great time. So it was just kind of a win-win for me this year. I like to walk, so I walked from our place that mile to the show a couple of times. Very interesting walk. I walked into a little corner store, maybe got a few looks that were just, are you sure you're in the right place? So somebody elbowed me in line and was just kind of like, you good? I'm good. The pizza place that we went to Saturday night, I was outside getting some fresh air, and I saw a guy, like, actually I heard him first. He was just like being real, like, sketchy. He had an apron on though, and he came from around the back. So I'm like, he's working back there. I've come to find out it's his third day of work, and he's wondering, and he's from South Philly, and he's new in the AC area, and he's wondering if I know any good, trustworthy meth dealers.
Oh, great.
So I unfortunately I told him, I was from out of town, and all my meth comes from out of town too. So I can't.
That's
really
who made
recommend
your pizza.
Right. That's why that pizza gets cooked so good.
How were the Jello shots, Bob?
I mean, they were just straight vodka, really. Yeah, that was interesting. We were Friday night, where our little house was, sort of backyards are connected, and we heard people where we didn't hear people the previous nights. And I guess there were some ladies over there that were doing a bachelorette weekend party at Atlantic City.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. Not as cool as it sounds for a bunch of like old married guys that look at baseball cards. So, but it was at least entertaining for those. So nothing really happened. But then the next morning, another guy and I were late, sort of leaving, and we heard them out there. We were out on the back deck, and they were just like, "Let's see who we're dealing with over there," because it's pitch black. You can't see. You just are talking to darkness of the backyard next to you. I think it was pretty much a lot of all talk, but I don't know, man. We had a good time. I feel like because of the way the logistics of how you had to kind of stay, you weren't able to kind of mingle as much as maybe I wasn't able to mingle with as more people. Instead, I was with the same people and really just kind of like pouring into all that stuff. So instead of growing a lot of relationships a little bit, I feel like I was in a position to kind of bond with some other collectors that I wouldn't have otherwise, just because we spent so much time together, kind of rooting for each other. I feel like a lot of people I was with got some, big cards off their lists.
Cool. Yeah.
So that's always a good thing when you see a friend get that card that just they can't wipe the smile off their face,
So Dave, what else you got as far as questions?
What's up, Joey?
I'm trying to think. Or I should say, Vinny. Do you have anything that you want to ask since you've never been? That would require you to go off of mute, Vinny.
He's just smiling.
Sorry, the setup's a little bit different tonight.
Shut up.
This setup.
Shut up.
It's a running joke, but
yes, it's an inside thing. It's an inside thing. But since you've never, I know you go to local shows all the time, but from a national perspective, like me, you've never been. Anything specifically that you've thought of over the past few weeks that maybe you want to pose the question or get more information on?
Skip me for right now. Let me rethink that thought.
No, that's fine.
Where are you from,
That's
Vinny?
Michigan via PA.
So you're in Michigan now. Where are the shows that you can attend locally?
So there's a show every week. There's one in Troy, which is near me. There's one downriver that's like 45 minutes away. It's the biggest. Detroit's the second biggest. There's the Elks, which is one Sunday a month, and it's usually packed. All of the shows are run almost by the same promoter.
Yeah,
so they always have autographs, one person every show each day, usually Saturday and Sunday.
Nice.
Wade Boggs was supposed to be here and he canceled, but we had Reggie Jackson.
Wow.
We have Lance Parrish is always here. Any of the World Series 84 players.
Wow, that's a way better show than anything we have locally.
Sid Abel, all the Red Wings, Darren McCarty's a staple. They had Claude Lemieux and Darren signing at the same time, which for being a Red Wings fan on top of Pittsburgh, so it was an easy move to transition from Pittsburgh to Red Wings territory. But to have those two sign the stuff, from the battles from the Avalanche and the Red Wings, that was pretty cool. But it's 220 tables.
Yeah, it's a big show
at downriver, and then it's about the same in Troy, and then Elks is maybe 100.
That's awesome, man. I don't even consider that like a local show. That's a big show. I mean,
pretty big.
Yeah, to have that every month is great.
Yeah, Triple Crown 24 was out here before COVID. He set up a couple times. I haven't seen him back. Mike Canadian Cards, I met him and didn't realize I met him because he was at JT's table. But Jeff, who comes on the pod, he's here. I see him at local shows.
Nice.
So, Ricky Henderson too.
You ever set up or you just walk the shows?
I just walk them right now. I take my youngest daughter comes with me most of the time, thus the Vinny and C. So she we had a big wax guy that used to set up, and now he retired. So a Pokemon, half his stuff's Pokemon and TGC stuff. The other half is sports cards. He has a shop in Chelsea, Michigan, and he sets up every time. And I don't know who raised these two boys, but they got old collector mindset for being about 28 years old. It's crazy. Like, they buy enough for the customer, then they rip stuff, then they put stuff away. I'm like, you do what? And he's like, yeah, it's what my dad taught me. I'm like, you're a genius. That's how this goes. I have my own PC, and then whatever I don't want, I put out in the cases, and we have breaks and everything. He's got a card with a QR code.
Nice.
And boom, you hit it. And, if I'm ever out that way, I'll probably stop at his shop because he knows how to cut a deal. And he's like, I could tell when he gives me the initial price that he's already cutting me a deal. So I don't even haggle with the guy half the time. Other times I'm like, it's a box of 95, 96 Parkhurst hockey. I don't see anybody else in this room that's going to buy it. I will take $30 off that price, and then I'll take it for you. And I usually do, because there's not that 90s grab there. It's more vintage and ultra modern. The 90s is sort of the forgotten time. And then other stuff is like ridiculously priced for 90s stuff. Like, they have boxes of Upper Deck the first year for like $90, which is about $35. So it's the same thing as the National, just at a smaller scale. It's not probably nothing like the National, but it's the same trials and tribulations, just at a smaller scale.
Nice.
So continue to crunch. Think of a question or two
you. Yeah, I was trying to get his brain turning. That's why I asked him.
I know you were.
Instead.
Oh, I know you were.
The large white dog already made my brain tapioca earlier from his barking.
I think your hat's too tight.
Probably.
Paul's been around a while too, so he knows how to interact though too. He's one who could freaking talk to anybody and carry on a conversation for 30 minutes, and that's just the way Paul is.
Amen.
Dave, I know you got other questions on your mind though.
I know two. I'll go with one, obviously, first. I'm gonna let Paul start with this one because I know this was a huge thing for him. And we end our show and we mean it, unlike others that fucking try to rip us off. Cards, they're fucking great. Relationships are what really matters in this hobby. People that you met at the show, I prefer naming names because, again, then I see some insight to that. Like, hey, man, I know this guy, or I heard something, and we'll go along, all you guys in the bottom, Everett, Bob, and of course Paul. But when you say, hey, let's say it's again, I'll use my best friend as an example. Like, oh, Mike, he was great. It's like, well, what? And then you give like the example of why he's great. Okay, that might show a little insight to these people that, okay, I know the persona on the YouTube videos or on social media platforms, but who did you meet at the National, or who did you reconnect with that you hadn't seen in forever, or B, a number of years, and you just, maybe there's a text or maybe there's a couple messages here and there, but you finally got to sit down with these folks, have a beer, have a meal, just have a good conversation, and like bond, because we're all basically brothers and sisters in the fucking hobby. We all collect pictures of dudes, sweaty jock straps, and whatever else. That we can do. So,
I didn't know I told any of
that. Yeah. But I'll start with you, Paul, because I know seeing the one post, I mean, I was giddy because I remember our room of about 10, 12 people on blog that Sunday we'd have the pirated NFL games.
Yeah.
And you two always interacting. It was always, my God, you guys got to get together just to get the oh god.
If you want me to go first, yeah, I'll try not to talk forever. I'll go quick, but yeah, this was a pretty unique experience for me because I got to meet Adam for finally. Adam Aiello has been around as long as any of us, and we used to be obviously tight all along because we collect the same stuff and kind of approached the old YouTube the same way. We would always send blind packages to collectors and send each other stuff, and everybody that's not a Yankee fan loves getting rid of their Yankees stuff. So Adam and I would always have incoming packages from the rest of you all, right? And we'd always have to find stuff that we could send out. That nice card there. I actually had the Father's Day blue or whatever of that card. It's a 50, a nice card. I think I sold it though. I usually just collect autos now. I'm trying to not collect every single base and parallel of every single player. It's too hard. So yeah, Adam and I had never met though. We've been very, very tight friends. In fact, not to bring a sad note to this podcast, but when my father passed 6 years ago, some of y'all might remember, Adam kind of organized a big old group of old schoolers to pitch in and send a really nice flower arrangement with 2 days notice. At our funeral, it showed up an hour early. It was beautiful, and it was blue and white and navy Yankees colors. It was perfect. Our family had a flower arrangement that we bought that was like a traditional flower arrangement with a big vase. And Adam bought like one of those rings, that they hold on a big, scaffold or whatever it's called, like you hold up a painting. It was so perfect though. And then recently, unfortunately, Adam's mom passed away very recently last year. And I did the same thing in return. So 6 years later, his mom passed. And I said, well, you know what? I need to pay this favor back. So I, I gathered up a bunch of us, and we did the same thing in return. And we sent him some really nice stuff, some gift certificates for him and his father for some of their local places they love to eat, and some of the cool cards and everything. So it was really cool. But anyways, long story short, I feel like
that's the connection aspect, which is
correct.
What
we're just good people. Good people.
Yeah, exactly.
And everybody cares about each other, and we're happy for each other when we get cards and everything. But when life experiences happen and we have a history together, like you kind of feel that. So
yep.
So anyways, we never got to meet though, because Adam stopped going to National exactly 6 years ago when the Atlantic City National happened. He was going through some of his real medical personal situations he was dealing with, and wasn't able to make it, and then hasn't really been able to travel the last however many years. So this was our one chance. So I reached out to him and Manny a couple of months back, and I said, hey, this is my plan. If we can get together, let's do it. I said, I don't want to just go into National on Wednesday and fly in, have to shuttle over to AC and deal with all the bullshit and be in a hurry. I want to come in the weekend before if possible. And if you would allow me, I'd like to come hang out with you guys, hang out in your area. And Adam was like, dude, my house is open. If you want to come, I would love to have you. I'll host you. Please come on up. So we organized it. So the first day I came into town, we shot over and hung out with Manny at his new shop up there, Card Cave Central. It was really cool to see. It's small, but Manny's got a good little operation going. He's been doing well for himself. Manny is All-Star Jersey Shop. I'm sure you guys all, or the old schoolers might, but Manny's been around forever. His name now is just Card Cave Central. He's been doing PSA submissions for quite a while, built that up. But he's also been doing little group breaks. He has a GTS distribution account from back in 2010 or 11. So he's been building up, an actual relationship with distributors for many, many years. Like many of the big time people that we all know, Manny's been doing it very quietly. So he's got a great little, I don't even want to use the word little, but he's got a great foundation set. And he's at the point now where he's actually supplying a lot of the up and coming breakers who don't have their own, distribution connections because they can't get product. So he's got a lot of product. He has a small shop. He doesn't do breaks anymore like he was doing in his little Facebook group a while back. And he's actually looking to expand. In fact, that's a whole separate conversation.
He's doing breaks on now.
Yeah. He was saying he was just starting again. He had stopped for a while because he had other people who I don't even need to mention them, but
he's doing them through the shop. So he posts every once in a while on Instagram.
Yep. So anyways, Adam and I hung out. We went and got pizza. We got to hang out. He drove me into AC. We hung out for the day. We played a little gambling. It was funny. I'll tell one quick story. I said, Adam, when we get there, when we go to check in, there's one thing I have to do. I have to go to the roulette table. I have to play my numbers. I have to put $100 down. If I sit there for 2 hours, if I sit there for 1 minute, I got to play my numbers. I got to get it out of me because I don't want to be worrying about it all weekend because I just got to do it. So I went and played. I played for a little bit. I won. I went up, down, and then I lost. So as we're walking away, he's like, all right, now I got to find a slot machine. I got to find a machine. And we're just walking around. And it was the funniest thing ever. We're just walking and walking and walking. And out of nowhere, he goes, that's the one. And he looks over across the way and he starts walking towards this one machine. It was a Wheel of Fortune. And he's like, that's the one. So he goes over to it. He puts his $20 in. First spin, nothing. Second spin, $500. Cashes out. Didn't even play. That was it. He literally made $480 in two spins. And that was it. Paid for the whole trip. He paid for dinner. He paid for everything that night. He was like, it's on me. He goes, it's on the Borgata. That's what he kept saying because we were at the Borgata that first night. It's on Borgata, Paul. I got this one. You want a drink? I got it. It's on the Borgata. So anyways, we had fun. He went home with about 400 extra bucks by doing me a favor of driving me into town. It was pretty freaking cool. And the other quick thing about Adam, when I got to his house, we were just chatting, hanging out, whatever. And he comes down from upstairs and he's like, hey, I got you something. I didn't want to tell you before. And he's like, you gave me this card like 10 years ago. It's worth significantly more now than it was back then. I've held it all along, and I always thought that I would give it back to you eventually. And he gave me back a Patrick Ewing 0304 SP Authentic on-card autograph that I had given him way back in the day. I mean, that's a big card, but it was like one of our key cards that I had sent him way back in the day. And then after that, he turned around and he said, I have some other cards that you've given me over the years, and I just want to give these back because I don't want to sell them. And he gave me back these are all really nice Knicks cards that I had sent him over the last, 5-6 years. Larry Johnson auto, Kazzy Russell, the John Starks refractor auto, really Willis Reed, Earl Monroe patch auto. All of these cards are literally in my team bags and my top loaders as if I took them out of my PC box yesterday. They had been in New Jersey for 8 years, 5 years, 6 years, depending on whenever I sent him these cards. And he's like, I know these were yours. I know which ones you've sent me over the years, and I just want to give them back to you. So that was amazing. I mean, I literally teared up because I was like, holy shit. He goes, Paul, I want this to pay for your trip. And I did, in fact, sell the Ewing the first day because I put it in a package with a couple other guys or a couple other cards. He's like, I just want to pay for your trip. I want you to have this card back. Do whatever you want to do with it. If you keep it, great. But I want you to sell it. I want you to pay for your trip and not have to worry about anything. So that was really cool. Second person really quick was Army ATC Alex. We were never really, really close friends, but he was able to come to the show. And I had met Alex when I first started my YouTube channel with Starbury Matrix Travis and Miami Bobby from Orlando. Alex came into Orlando one time on like a weekend leave, and he wore all his Army fatigues, and he was the guest of honor at the big league rip party for 07 Triple Threads football. That video was amazing. He pulled the 1-of-1 Barry Sanders white whale plate auto. I pulled an Eli Manning. It was so much fun. We had fun hanging out with him. And the next night, me, Bobby, Travis, and Army did a break of 08 or 07 gridiron gear case at Army's hotel room in Kissimmee somewhere. And I hadn't seen him since then, of course. So it was really cool to reconnect with him. In fact, Everett and I went to dinner with him, and we met the third person I want to mention, Frank Campari. I had never met Frank. All this time I've been wanting to meet Frank, one of the legends, honestly, one of my favorite people in the history of all of our old schoolers. Frank's just a classic dude, man. And it was so great to meet Frank. He plays acoustic, and he plays a couple local places, a guitar with a buddy of his that I guess he's partnered with. And they were playing at a place 3 minutes from Atlantic City. Where was it? What city was that? Brigantine? I don't remember.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyways, Everett drove us there. It was 5 minutes away, just a few minutes up the road in a nice little town just north of AC. It was nice. It was in a little wine, like a wine / classy dinner place. Big bar, had full coolers on the side with all types of beers and alcohol. It's almost like a mart for the town where they also have dinner and they also have music and they also have wine bar. It was really kind of a unique little place. Good atmosphere. We walked in and sat down, and the lady says to us, sorry, we're not serving food right now. We asked for menus, and she's like, sorry, the kitchen's closed. And we were like, what? The kitchen's closed? She's like, yeah, we have a private party of 30 upstairs or whatever, and the kitchen's closed. So we sat down anyways, and Frankster was playing. And he's like, why aren't you guys eating? He took a break. He's like, why aren't you guys eating? Like, they told us the kitchen's closed. And he went and said something to somebody. And next thing we know, the lady walked back up to us and gave us 4 menus. So I think Frank called in a favor for his out-of-town buddies because we were hungry. So we ate there, and we got to hang out with Frank and listen to some music for a while. And that was really cool, actually. It was actually really good connecting with Everett and Joey as well. So, and aside from that, I'll just sum it up with, I saw so many people that I don't see more than once a year. This is the one time where you get to see really everybody that you want to see in the hobby that you get to see only once a year if they go to shows like the RBI guys, like gosh, I could name 100 people really. I just think of Ryan and the old school crew, Mike Kantz and Neil with Ryan, and the people they set up with are just classy people. I love seeing them every show. A lot of the newer people that I deal with more outside of the old YouTube crew, you know, the Facebook groups and the people who do grading submissions, people who do, a lot of those things that they're not necessarily influential in the hobby, but they're very important people in the hobby because they, they provide a important service, not just breakers. It's just good to connect with all those people at least once a year. Me personally now, trying to find my role in the hobby. You know, if I'm not going to go back and get another job, which I haven't yet, it's been almost 2 years now. I got to really figure out what my role is going to be. You know, I got to figure out if I'm going to be the guy sitting around doing grading submissions, or if I'm going to do travel around and do shows, or what I'm going to do. So it's really nice to connect with all these people that are truly doing. I mean, these people are doing very, very well for themselves in many, many avenues. A lot of money to be made in this business if you take it seriously, and if you're good, if you're good to people. There's a lot of ways to make money in this business. So looking forward to figuring out what I'm going to do. So anyways, that's it for me. Those are the 3 that I think were the best to reconnect with and meet for the first time.
Everett, how are you?
Well, after 3 years of not being at nationals, outside of Chicago, where it seems like everyone and their cousin comes, the one-offs, not as many people seem to come, but it was nice to see again my usual roommate Joey at 8, who we've kind of been pretty much rooming probably for nationals since I think Cleveland in 2016. And it worked out perfectly in that literally for me, it's a straight shot straight from where I live to Atlantic City, and I passed right by the Philadelphia airport where he flew in on Wednesday morning. So all I had to do was sync up what time I was going to be getting to Philly to when he was arriving, picked him up. We stayed at one of the hotels for one night, and then we roomed in the Airbnb with Alex, Army ATC, for the rest of the week, which it was nice meeting Alex finally in person. I've never met him before until Wednesday, so that was fun. Paul, that was the first time we had spent any real extended time together during nationals. Was that Friday night? That was Our Army was I think you gave directions when you had your phone synced up there, so you worked very well as a
I had to guide you around. Yeah.
Now, I'll give you 5 stars there. 5
I
out
was
of
your
5.
GPS.
Yeah, YouTube GPS ratings 5 out of 5. Paul Smith.
Thank you for that.
But yeah, that was definitely cool being able to see Frank play and us exchanging fireball shots.
Oh, that's right. We did get to take a shot together.
I didn't mention you calling the shot correctly on Aaron Judge hitting a home run during that game on Friday night.
Yeah, there were a lot of Aaron Judge home runs while we were at the National. So these guys heard me yelling a lot.
But seriously, get this shit on. I forget what inning it might have been the first or the second. I don't remember anymore. He's like, Judge is going to hit a home run here.
No, it was actually Rizzo.
It was Rizzo. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It was Rizzo. You're like, Rizzo's going to hit a home run here. A couple pitchers later, smacks a homer just over the fence.
2-1 count.
I mean, if you could have predicted the Mega Millions, I mean, you really would have set yourself up for the weekend.
He was due.
But it was that whole dinner experience was one of the highlights of the trip. It was awesome to.
Good times.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was. Those sort of things are almost the most fun part about nationals.
I agree with that.
Which, with how Atlantic City is, unfortunately, unless a bunch of people are staying at the same hotel by the boardwalk, you don't have very many chances to pull off activities like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the Nationals is ever back in Atlantic City, it is nice to know that there are nice areas like that.
Yeah.
Within a handful of minutes away. That
very
might be
close.
something where, there's another Nationals in Atlantic City, which sounds like that might be a discussion for another day. To where, hey, keep that in the back pocket, maybe scope out a little bit, go. Because I'm always planning on driving to Atlantic City, so there'll at least be one bastard with wheels if you guys trust me enough.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
as long as there's no fireball prior to
the
just one.
Nah, no fireball prior. There might be a $12 drink from the convention floor earlier in the day, but that'll be about that.
Oh yikes!
Or what damn price points are on freaking drinks on the convention floor. But that it also nice to see, Neil, RBI, Ryan.
Yeah.
Jason Gillespie, always nice to see
Jason,
him.
classy. Yep, classy guy.
Yeah, always nice to see him catch up on the bullshit with him. If he doesn't show up to the there's a decent sized show near Pittsburgh in Monroeville every year. If he doesn't show up to that in May, I might have to give him a Macho Man elbow drop from the top of the top of one of the hotels in Chicago next year. So be prepared for that.
Jason's good people. Awesome guy. He was set up with John Summers. Most of you guys probably all know John Summers.
I got to kick Summers' ass still for his little shenanigans on Thursday, or was that Wednesday?
And he sets up with Derek Robbins. You guys probably remember D-Rob or D. Robbins. Yep. And Jason's wife travels with him to most shows. They're a hell of a team together. They really are. They're great people.
Yeah, she keeps them in line, which is needed at this point.
She's awesome. They actually came down to Tampa when we did the Collectors Con last year. There was 2 big shows in Tampa called Collectors Con. They were pretty big. They were probably the peak of the hobby with the whole post-COVID explosion and the whatnot explosion and all this stuff from Florida, the Loop app. All that's from Florida, if you guys don't know. Miami, those people are huge presence at all of our shows because they're local. The InvestiCard guy, Eddie, which is kind of funny to most people. We're live. You guys know him, I'm sure. He's local, so we see him at every show too. He's actually he's a good guy if you talk to him, but his character his persona is something else. Gets on people's nerves sometimes, I think, but he's actually a good guy. Anyways, point of that being the Collectors Con show, Jason and his wife traveled in and set up with me at that show, which was really cool. It was the first time me and him had really had a chance to spend some time together. Great people.
Oh yeah, he knows his shit, and also he's more than willing to work a fair deal with you if there's something you're interested in.
Yeah, in fact, Jason introduced me to Tom and Tyler from Dave and Adams, the one that do most of their buying. The great guys. They're from Buffalo. Dave and Adams is up there. They have guys that basically go to all the bigger shows and just walk around and will buy. They pay 90% sometimes on anything they're looking for. Hall of Fame autos, because they build their Dave and Adams repacks, and they're known for being some of the best repacks in the entire industry. And they have a whole variety of different brands for their repack products. So they're always buying. At this show, they were looking for Hall of Fame football autos, Hall of Fame baseball autos, pretty much anything like that. And they will literally buy everything from your table. They don't haggle over pricing if they think you're about right. Let's say, how much is this? 100. Okay. How much is that? 150. Okay. They'll build a stack and they'll say, okay, what's 85%? All right. What's 90%? All right. How about this? Boom, done. These guys are so easy to deal with because they have so much cash and their product is moving so quickly that they're able to buy aggressively at shows. Honestly, without that, the industry is very stale if you don't have people actively buying large amounts at shows and paying very good amounts.
I saw Roth cards.
Roth cards? I actually, I know Roth. He's local as well. He's all right. He's one of those people where some people don't like him, I think, because of the whole influencer content creator thing. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, if you ever get a chance to have a conversation with him, he's all right. He's actually a funny guy. He's got a good attitude about the whole thing. He does pretty good though. He promotes his brand very well. I will say that he's done very well getting his brand and his name out there.
Oh yeah, I got to add another name since I just saw that that last comment. Clint was also rather fun to walk around with on the show on Friday.
Which Clint?
Today, so that was fun to walk around there. He was getting an Emmitt Smith rookie signed. It was fun to bullshit with him, catch up. Bullshitting with the guys is just almost one of the highlights of the whole show in general.
Of course.
I mean, it's not just so much, not necessarily just finding like a PC card or a card you didn't even know you really wanted, but you're like, oh shit, I gotta buy this. But just the bullshitting, swapping stories, general debauchery, that sort of shit.
So Bob, finally, after all this time, and Paul said he would keep it short, and of course, Paul doesn't know the meaning of keeping things short. That's what she said.
Takes a lot of
I already knew where you were going with that, Paul. Same question goes to you, and before you answer, as far as the connections and everything, everybody talks about dealers willing to give good deals and everything else. Bob Lewis is probably one of the best guys to ever deal with in regards to anything. So and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I mean,
that's awesome.
Dave's another guy. If he's
that's
willing
saying
to
a lot.
With Dave works some magic too when it comes to working deals, but Bob is taking care of me on a multitude of occasions. So,
well, thank you. My parents raised me right.
Amen.
So the guys that I stayed with, Dawn, feel like the way everything kind of came together just sort of spoke about like the community kind of picking up the slack. I knew I wanted to go. Somebody and I happened to be on a live stream and happened to be talking about national. I set up there. I'll probably, like I did in 19, set up a Greyhound bus ride, blah, blah, blah. So somebody heard that, was going. They're from Pittsburgh, Dawn Field of Dreams Cards, and was just like, I'll give you a ride. Then 24 hours after that, they were in a place that slept 7 and they only had 6. So I got an invite there with 6 other dudes that I really have never, I'm aware of their channel and their content, and kind of what they collect. But you just, it is just kind of weird how you can, it's not weird. it I realized how that just sounded, but it's not strange when you meet these people in real life, and then because you've been watching them so long, we're in a group text, so you almost even have a little bit of a shorthand going with inside jokes and stuff. So you just sort of pick right up where the conversation left off. You know, we're busting each other's chops. Yeah, and it's just like I feel like everybody has the same story that's married. Like when they tell their wife, the first or whoever they're with, you know, the first time that they're going to get together with this guy they met off the internet, and they're like, "Are you crazy?" Like it's and then you have to explain to them like I know this person.
We know each other though. Yeah, we really know each other. Yeah.
So, and here I am raising a 12-year-old girl, and it's like, don't talk to anybody on the internet. So yeah, that was John Mangini of the Mangini collection, George Diamond Yard Sports Cards, Rick Vintage Oddball Cards, Lou of Lou Rock TV, and James of Elite Hunters, and Dawn and myself. And then spent a lot of time with Jake, Legends Never Die, Eric, Four Leaf Cards, Scott, Reindeer Studios, got a t-shirt of him. And people came prepared. Everybody had little packages for each other. And, you know, I haven't revealed it yet on any video, but somebody hooked me up pretty solid with a solid autograph that Vinny would really like. If I can spoil it any more than that, that's about all I'll say on it now. It's pretty. I do want to do a national recap video. I feel like I owe it to my channel to do that. And man, yeah, I could go around and, like I said, be bummed that I didn't get to spend as much time with Ed or Miko or Ray from Philly. Was able to hang out briefly at a gathering, but you know, I really wanted to hang with Picker Jim. He seemed like such a sweet dude. Just really normal guys that they're so happy they're meeting other people that you can talk about cardboard with and not feel like strange about it at all. You know, what did you see at the show? Like there's built-in common ground, and it just makes it easy to get along. You're rooting for each other. If people have PSA orders submitted, you know, like you follow up with them. What were your grades? You pumped? You bummed? Whatever. Did you sell? Did you buy? Did you find that unicorn? All those stories that everybody has, I'm just like a sponge. I just want to soak it up. I really was bummed because, you know, I'm, like I said, married with 3 kids, one of them being like a little over a 1-year-old. I haven't had a guy's weekend, you know, 4 nights, 5 days hanging with the dudes in a long time. Yeah, work trips, but that's it. I'm there working. So this was really nice to just kind of let go. You know, my buddies sort of know what 2022 has been. It's been you know, everything's fine, thankfully, but it's been a challenging year. So the national kind of came right at the right time. So it could, my expectation, it would not have taken much for me to feel like this is exactly what I needed, you know? So just kind of blew that out of the water. I got some funny stories, lots of laughs. I showed them we could get on YouTube on the TV, and I showed them a clip from the Cardboard podcast where zombies like glitching. It was on the coronavirus or quarantine special, and just like laughing at YouTube videos. We're like a bunch of like guys who have mediocre YouTube channels, watching other YouTube channels, laughing about like stuff that happened years ago. I don't know. Just it all seems surreal. Like this is, and none of this would have happened without YouTube. I feel like I've got lifelong friends, present company included, and it's just really cool. The national just kind of is that stamp in the year of like kind of all comes to a head, and then we start gearing up for next year. Aim for Chicago.
Can't wait.
Yeah, man.
It'll be.
I do get. Well, this is the last thing I'll say, because my wife is texting me like, "Where the hell are you?" So she's nice about it though. I get it that people that have been there 6, 7, 10 times, like, they're really like somebody like those back pages who's really sort of like, I mean, you can hear it. He's bummed when it's over, but like the excitement of being there and hanging out, and then just the letdown of going back to real life. I felt a little of that because it was fun, but it's only going to get better because I feel like the guys on my inner circle, I really haven't even got a chance to hang and do all that with. So, if that means anything about a future national being even better, I would sign up for that.
What's your YouTube, Bob?
Bob Lewis.
Bob Lewis. Okay, yeah. We didn't know each other before this, so sorry. I want to know so I can go watch.
Yeah, it's it'll be a little sparse. You might have to go in the archives to find anything worth watching.
Yeah. I just restarted mine a few months ago. I hadn't made videos for like 8 years.
I've known Everett through like 6 degrees of people in the YouTube community for a while now. So but I don't feel like we've ever had a conversation. I know you're a Patriots guy. I've watched a lot of Miko's old videos from Nationals, and you make many appearances in those.
I think I might need to resurrect a video or two with the Nationals.
Let's do it. Let's do it, Everett. Seriously.
I was going to say,
Dave Archer wants that.
It might be looking like maybe tomorrow we might, or Thursday, resurrect a Nationals recap.
I got to make my recap video too. I got a lot of stuff to show.
I can do it if you guys can do it. Or wait, you can do it if I can.
Yeah.
I'll get one posted the next day or two here. Definitely.
Cool.
All right.
I got to show cards like this is a pickup I had here. Make me big there, Dave. Or this is Chinese death. Just like a bunch of Chinese guys shooting each other up. So
what the heck is that? What year is that from?
It's the 50s, I think. It's it's like the G-Men. G-Men and the Heroes of the Law.
Chinese death. Sounds like COVID.
1930. I don't do that much.
No, just kidding.
I thought that was what was going to happen on the boardwalk on Thursday night.
Yeah, I know. That reminds me of AC. Oh my god, that's the craps table. Chinese death.
Oh, what the heck? Where's my stack of cards?
Oh, here. Did you go there? Did you go there looking for that card or something, or is that
no, dude,
I was like, what is that?
Something bizarre catches my eye.
Maybe I don't want to watch your videos.
What are you into, man?
Yeah. Oh man.
I had. Oh well, you'll have to watch the recap video to really see.
Yeah. Nice teaser.
That's why the gun wasn't the placeholder this week.
I don't know. It was like these other cards. They were the Indian gum cards, but it was one like horses getting like a stagecoach getting jacked.
Good evening,
and
LA 32.
The horse looks so. I'm gonna just finish. I'm not gonna say anything else about that card because there's no way I'm gonna be able to give it. But there's another one. There's an Indian creeping into this barn, and there's this chick waiting on the inside with an axe in her hand. And if you read the back, she like decapitates 4 Indians in a row coming through this barn.
Oh, okay.
It's like, I gotta have that card. I mean, that tells a story, It's it's part of our history.
Well.
So anyway,
remind me not to blind trade with you.
No, Bob's a little twisted, but that's why we like him.
But I got other cool stuff. What do I got? I'm not gonna go through that because I had my window to go out and still save face with the lady, so I'm gonna take that.
Yes,
you guys. Nice to meet you guys. I'm sure I'll see you. Our paths will cross again for sure.
All right, nice seeing you.
Absolutely.
Meeting you.
Peace, Bob.
Later, Bob.
Vinny.
I would say that my lady's waiting on me too, but that would be totally made up. So
join the club on that. We meet every other Tuesday.
Vinny, did you come up with anything?
Not yet. I'm talking to the better half right now. So
what?
Uh-oh. What?
She's actually a collector, so
Nice.
I lucked out in that aspect that last week I got an autographed Mary Lemieux. What is it?
Hockey stick.
I know it's a hockey stick, but I'm looking. Practice use. Thank you.
Oh,
The name of the stick, though, too.
you married Captain Obvious over there, huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Very much so. She graces us with her presence on regular occasion.
I like it. I like it.
Side conversations or in the chat. She hasn't graced us in the chat.
He really knows how to. He's got carpal tunnel from that mute button, I think.
Because of the dog. Right on cue. Right on cue.
Go into the dog.
Oh, man.
See, Paul, this is what you get, though. You said you've watched a few times. You know what to.
I'm here for it.
You know what you get from time to time with us.
I'm here for it.
Why do you keep?
Dave's over there crying.
Everett, get comfortable.
Well, Dave's her favorite, so
I am.
Yeah.
I don't know why you guys always say that.
Because it's obvious. Dave does no wrong. You've said it yourself.
Steve, I love you.
Oh.
I love you too, better half. So Vinny's still thinking. Dave, you said you had one other question. We are coming up on the 2-hour mark. Since
Holy cow, really? Wow. You guys are
it
fun
doesn't
to
feel
talk
like
to.
it.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't feel like it. That's why we enjoy having people on here, because it makes things easy.
Yeah.
I know both of you guys are player collectors, team collectors, but I also know you will hop on a good deal if you see it.
Sure.
With that being said, did you have any specific list or any cards that you're like, okay, I'm eyeing up? Example, let's say just a generic 2017 Bowman's Best Judge auto or something like that. You're like, I need to get that one. Or Everett, a Tom Brady deflated ball Donruss card. Something of the sort that would match your balls as well. So, I mean...
Oh. Nothing matches his balls.
And you would know this how, Paul?
That was on the other podcast.
Yeah.
Oh. That's the paid membership.
That's the only fans.
It's also called Insert Revolution, but it's
Yeah, that's the premium section.
It's a different insertion.
Yeah. It's actually called Revolting. Instead of Insert Revolution, it's Revolting Insertion.
Wow.
I think I just named it. We should start that one too. We'll do it on Sundays, though. It would be appropriate.
Oh shit!
Go ahead, Everett.
Well, I didn't come into nationals with any set plan in mind. Based on like how a lot of stuff has been so jacked in price over the past couple of years, I went in with a fuck it, let's see what happens sort of game plan this year. And honestly, the game plan actually went a hell of a lot better than I ever thought it would. Like, I was kind of just going in with if I see something I like and the price is right or reasonable, I'm going to fucking do it. Knowing that realistically, at this point, Tom Brady shit is in its own stratosphere.
Crazy.
And I have better odds of being married to Giselle tomorrow than I did of picking up some realistic Brady price stuff. So I'm like, if there's Hall of Fame autos, if there's, graded Hall of Fame rookies and the price is right, I'm going to jump aboard that train for this week. Mm-hmm. The only thing I kind of had in mind was getting a Barry Sanders rookie signed at the show, which I did on Saturday. And
that came out great.
And he was a really nice guy. So that was another plus there, because, you have some of your horror stories on these athletes having a stick shoved up their ass. But no,
Which rookie did you get?
89
score.
Okay, I just had to ask because he's got
beautiful.
He's got a few, but that would be the one definitely that would be the cream of the crop.
Well, and it was like it compared, like Joe Montana, like for example, was charging $900 extra to get his rookie signed.
Wow.
Well, like Barry for the
900.
4 rookie was like a $25 premium charge,
Wow.
which was fine. But what was cool, which I haven't done a ton of TriStar sightings or anything, but I don't know if it's his assistant or one of the TriStar assistants. If you gave him, he would ask if you wanted to give him your phone, and he would take pictures of your entire interaction with the athlete.
Oh, wow.
So that's a lot of what I posted on Facebook was, a lot of those photos were from that assistant. So
that's great.
Yeah, that, stuff like that, that was actually really cool. So I don't know if that's something where, that's something Barry only does or, a limited, but, that was actually really, really, really damn cool.
That was worth the $25 surcharge to get the rookie card signed.
Oh, by far.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, that was pretty damn awesome. But but yeah, I didn't really go in with a set plan, but it was just kind of, and with those couple of that trade night Thursday night, I ended up, I brought some trade bait along with me that ended up being sold, so I ended up having more freedom to kind of get a little friskier than I was originally planning on.
Frisky.
Not with you, Paul, with cards at the show.
Apparently the chat heard us.
Yeah, along with the Love Chat best adult dating site.
Yeah. Oh, I could get friend zone 2 with that shit. So, but no, it was kind of fun not going in with a set game plan, just really going after shit that caught my eye. And I mean, there was a little more of that stuff that caught my eye that was decently priced than I thought there would be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now of course I did stray and end up buying a couple boxes during the week and whatnot, but which that's a whole other subject. I can remember the good old glory days when you could pick up a hobby box at the show for like $40-$50,
mm-hmm.
and you didn't give a fuck if you got prison shanked up the ass with the box. You're out $45. I can't imagine someone buying the new Prism football for $1,000 or whatever and getting prison shanked, or that blowout Mega Mix box product that they put out that looked like it was a steaming pile of horse shit. That's a separate subject for another day. How box prices in general just a prison shanking. Yes, there are various levels of bleeding involved. Except for one, and it's already at level 7's the minimum.
Brutal.
But yeah, I guess probably next year for Chicago, I'll probably have a little more of a set game plan. But it was kind of fun to not really have one and just kind of, if it caught my eye and the price was right, come on down.
I was kind of this is what I've been doing lately when I go to a bigger show that I'm not setting up at, like when I went to Dallas or when I go to the Tampa show. If I don't set up, I usually just bring my single row, this case here that I got from Zion way back before they changed the shape of it. But this is the best one they ever made. This is the single row for shows. It's so lightweight and simple and got the lock. I wish they still made this exact one. I'd buy another one. But anyways, I like to just fill that one case with my own show inventory, and then I go through my Yankees and my Knicks and my Giants boxes, and I try to find 10 or 20 cards that are the worst of the best. Okay, I've got 20 Bernie Williams autographs. Let's pick out the least favorite. Okay, these are the 4 that are stickers. This is the one that the auto's kind of covered on the edge of the window. I've got 4 different ones with relics, so I don't need all the, and I'll just pick out one Reggie Jackson, one Dave Winfield, one Mattingly, one Bernie, one Yogi, one Whitey, one whoever, you name it. And I'll try to get a big stack of stuff. So my thought heading into this is going to be my first opportunity to be in New York, New Jersey area. Oh my God, I collect Giants, Knicks, and Yankees. It'll be a good chance for me to bring some stuff that might be, more desirable than it is down here. Although there's plenty of New York type sports fans in Florida too, of course. But you know what I mean there. My mindset was this will be a good chance for me to bring some stuff up there. And my plan, which I've done many times now, is actually I go straight to Jason Gillespie. He's actually the guy that I usually go to first because he likes to buy a good variety of the stuff that I collect, those type of on-card or Hall of Fame or star former player autos, because he knows he can sell them to the David Adams guys if he doesn't move them quickly. Or it's good for him because he travels around and does shows basically now every weekend, every other weekend. He's traveling a lot. So he is a good buyer, and I like dealing with him first. So my game plan was to go directly to him as soon as I got there, let him dig through my entire case and just pick out whatever he wanted. And then I would have plenty of cash to go buy something. That's exactly what I did. Jason bought like $3,000 worth of stuff for me right away. As soon as I walked in, we made a deal so easy. He's so easy to deal with. And then my plan was to either look for a Roger Maris cut autograph because I don't have one yet. Let me know on that face. Oh yeah, exactly. I have it right here. It's amazing. Or a Mickey Mantle cut, because I do have the Mickey Mantle auto, which is a really, really nice one. The Ken Griffey Jr. Mickey Mantle dual, but I have the single though. I don't have the dual. I have the one with Mickey only, which is amazing. In fact, I got that at, I think it was last National, the one before. Those have gone through the roof. I'm so glad I got that one in time. I wish I would have gotten the dual and the Griffey by himself back then also. I should have just sold my collection to buy those 3 cards, but I went after the Mantle single, which is great anyways. But I do want to cut though. There's a lot of top Sterling one of ones where it has the huge Mantle cut. Some of them have relics up top, some of them don't. There's a lot of old SP Legendary cuts from the various early years where they have the player picture and the auto, whereas the older years or the more recent years after they lost the license, Upper Deck still made Legendary cuts, but they didn't have the team logos or the player pictures on them. They were kind of plain. So my goal was to try to find one of those. In fact, I did. There was a Roger Maris cut that I went and looked at like 5 different times. It was absolutely beautiful. It was early SP Legendary cuts, bold auto. It was already graded. It was a PSA 9.9, which doesn't really matter for a cut, but actually that's a kind of a desirable grade. It's a nice clean card with a nice mint overall grade. The auto is just barely covered on the top of the R because Roger's got a nice big autograph. But it was a little out of my range. Guy wanted $2,500 for it. He wanted $3,000 for it initially. My goal was to try to find something around $1,000 or $1,500 range because that's what they've always kind of gone for. But this one was really like double that, although it was deserved of the price. It was absolutely gorgeous, bright blue autograph. I just couldn't pull myself to literally spend every penny that I had just gotten in that deal for one card. So I delayed that, and then I started just looking around. And my same goal for every show is just look for rare retired Yankees and Knicks autographs that I don't already have. Mattingly's, Yogi's, etc. Frazier's. The problem with big shows like that is generally the dealers aren't putting out those type of cards. You don't usually find highlighted in the guy's case a Bernard King autograph or a Walt Frazier or a Mattingly even. I will say, in fact, though, my idea was correct that I did see way more basic Yankees and Knicks and those type of autographs because of where we were. So I felt like there was a lot more selection for a collector like me at this show, just because so many of the dealers were, selling those type of cards. In fact, I've seen that those type of cards gotten a lot hotter. I think you guys will all agree. Everything you collect, all of our old school stuff, I think you've probably seen a steady climb in some of that stuff because what's happened is all these repackers and a lot of these companies that are aggressively paying well for these cards have started to cause a market increase for these cards because they're actively buying at every show, which allows many, many dealers to be way more confident buying those cards because we know we can sell them. The comps go up because people are willing to pay full price for them. That goes back to the previous conversation we had about people wanting to always pay too low or try to offer too low, and the new collectors always trying to get such a deal. I don't think they realize the negative impact that actually has on the value of the cards they're trying to buy. Because I mean, if everybody's trying to pay under comps for every single card, every single show, every single dealer, every single buyer, then nothing's ever going to go up. So you have to pay up, because then every single dealer is going to be more likely to pay more for the card the next time they need one. And then every single buyer, you know what I mean? It's just kind of a butterfly effect, I guess. So I sold all that stuff, ended up with basically an empty case. And then my goal was just to go walk around the show and try to find singles that fit my PC. So I think I did pretty good. I was able to find about, 10 or 15 cards that were very rare. In fact, I'll just show a couple really, really quick. I don't want to ruin anything, but these are cards that I had never had a chance to buy. The Paul O'Neill Titanic Threads autograph. number to 20. These are incredibly rare. He's not a huge card, but this particular set has some incredibly rare names and big dollar cards, and the ones without the autograph sell for a ton of money. I think I got that for $80, which is probably the most I've ever paid for a single Paul O'Neill auto. I also picked up this rookie year Hideki Matsui Upper Deck UD Patch Collection signature patches autograph manufactured patch, which is actually one of the cards that I would never normally look at. I don't normally like sticker autos, of course, and I don't normally like anything with a manufactured patch, but this particular design from 2003 is friggin' gorgeous. The
That's
manufactured patch is like shadow boxed into the thick card. It has multi-layers in it. It's just sharp. And this card was priced at $200, which initially I thought might be a little high, but I literally searched, and there have only been about 3 sales of this card ever. Like if you go to Terra Peak and you look for it, there's only been like 3. And the last time it sold, I think, was 2011 for $200 or something like that. So the dealer was like, look, this card may be $500. It may be $200, but that's my price. And I said sold because I had never seen it before and I had never had a chance to buy it. So that's the kind of stuff I look for. I'm willing to pay something that's fair if both people think it's fair, even when there's no comps, because technically that becomes the comp, if you will. So now I feel very confident that if that card would ever pop up, there's no way it's going to go for less than the comp did 11 years ago or whatever it was. I'll show one last couple cards here because this is kind of a cool story. I had a friend that bought some Yankees cards at a show up in Wisconsin, and he was like, hey, we don't normally sell this stuff around here, so I thought of you. I've got a stack of cards. You can look through them. I'll be happy to give you a deal. These were a couple cards that I needed. And he said, hey, you know what? I'll tell you what. I'll just hold on to these until the National. You said you're coming, so I'll see you in a couple months. I'll add to the stack, and when I get there, you can decide what you want. What you don't want, I'll give you the best deal. I'll just sell the rest at National. So in the meantime, I show up to his table, and he's like, hey, I have a couple cards I want you to have. And I was like, oh, God. And he's like, here you go. And he handed me these 2 cards. He is an SGC submitter, which I'm not, which is fine. But he actually sent them. He spent his own money to send these cards that I want to get graded just to give them to me. I was like, why did you get these graded? I was just laughing. But this is a card that I did not own yet. The Mattingly Names of the Game auto bat, which is sick. SGC 8510. It's got a little chipping around the edge, which is normal. I personally, if I ever bought this card normally, I would crack it out and just put it in the mag. I'm not. SGC just doesn't fall in my collection on all my autos. I don't have any, but I don't have anything against them. I feel totally confident in their company and their grading. But I told him there's no chance I'll crack this out now since he gave it to me, of course. But normally I would. And then the second card was just amazing. This is from Upper Deck Artifacts, the Jumbo Artifacts relic number to 25 of Thurman Munson. Sick card.
Damn.
Yeah, just a beautiful card. So he literally gave me these. So what do you do when somebody gives you amazing PC cards like that? I mean, I think that just shows, that dealers are dealers, but when they know that there are people that are in the industry that are really just collectors, these guys really, they're not all crooks and criminals and schmucks. They're regular people too. So I think when you develop connections with people over the years, you're going to have people that will literally just give you stuff like that, and with expecting nothing in return. It was just really a unique experience to be able to, have somebody give you something with no strings attached. Because I feel like I've always done that as well. A lot of us have. We've always done that. I've always wanted to send people stuff just to see their reaction in the video, and it's always fun for us. It's always cool for me to do that. So to get something in return sometimes feels a little awkward because it's hard to accept something that actually does have a pretty good monetary value. I mean, I don't have to look those up. You don't have to look those up. You guys know those cards aren't worth $1. So, yeah. It was really nice. So I found some really cool Yankees PC stuff, a couple Knicks cards. I did dig through a couple dig boxes, which I don't normally do, and got a bunch of really cool, rare old inserts. And I guess I could show a couple of those really quick because we had somebody talking about Vikings and stuff. These are some rare cards that I had never seen before. Got a Mike Allstar on card auto jersey. I had never seen the jersey auto. A couple Chris Carters. These were all in a box numbered. All of these were between $10 and $20 each. This was $20. Anquan Bolden gold die cut pristine refractor rookie to 75.
You didn't even realize that was a rookie. I remember when you showed me that.
Yep. Larry Fitzgerald, Lucky 13. This is cool. Never seen this before. Moss, Carter, refractor dual to 50 from Rookies and Stars, the Ticketmasters insert die cut. This was, I think, $20.
Nice insert set.
Yeah, this Shrine Time pretty much looks like a PMG almost. It's amazing. Number to 1500.
Yep.
Pretty sick card. This is second year Contenders speed version, Randy Moss. I think this was priced at 25 or 30. This number to 100. Yep. All of these were clean from a collection. Very, very, very clean cards. He had this Moss E-Exceptional and the green. The green I couldn't find a comp for. I think this is a very valuable card. This was 10 and this was 20. I bought both just because I thought that has to be a good deal.
Depends if the green's numbered.
No, the greens are not numbered, but they're like 1 in 188 packs instead of 1 in 1 instead of 1 in 12 or something like the reds are. Whatever the number was, it was a significant difference in pull rates. This is the
Edge Masters.
Yeah, the Edge X. It looks like an atomic refractor to 2500. This is the card Joey wants. This was $25. Was that the sticker that was on it, Joey? I think it was $25. This is the face-to-face quad face mask relic of Favre, numbered 1 of 100. I according to what I can find online, I think this is like a $200 card based on recent comps of all these face mask cards. And then, anyways, just a bunch of cool cards. Legacy collection, number to 100. These was like $5 or $10, even though it's Vin Baker. Every card like that sells for more than that. Robert Tractor Trailer Atomic to 100. He passed away recently, and you remember he was a huge.
And that's his rookie.
Yep, exactly. A high draft pick. That was super cheap. This is the actual Fleer Premium Jordan reprint, not Fleer Platinum, not a counterfeit fake. You know, like an actual reprint. These sell really well. I think that was $10 or $15. Larry Johnson.
0304 they did the 86 reprint.
No, I think this was actually in
96-7.
I think it was an even anniversary. Yeah, I think it was 96 or 2006.
Because they
or whatever, Decade of Excellence or whatever.
It's number 1 of 25 reprints Fleer Skybox. Although the back doesn't have the year of this particular product. It's Fleer Platinum.
I know they did it 0304 in Fleer Platinum. They had.
Hey, you might be right then. The back doesn't have.
Well, the reason why I know that is because I have some from that because I opened a box 0304 Fleer Platinum and got a few of the 86 reprints.
Number to 100. That's the Larry Johnson, whatever these are called, Platinum Medallion. Gold, Garnett. Early year Bowen's Best refractor to 400. These are all literally mint. I'm gonna have to look through these and figure out. Look at this, clean everywhere around, no issues. Some of these cards are probably the type of cards that are 10 or 20x in a PSA 10 versus raw. You know, the old numbered refractor type stuff. So there's a lot of value here, potential for big bumps on some of these if they are in fact gem or better. This is a second year Yao Ming to 100. Flare gold second year card, very rare.
Nice.
The Yao Ming stuff sells through the roof. Couple other just Iverson rookie, Ray Allen, really nice Patrick Ewing early chrome refractor with no toning, no issues, centered. I think that was $10. This box was just amazing, and I just dug and put together $1,000 stack. And I paid exactly $700 for everything here. So basically, the sticker prices seemed pretty good already. There's 3 Kobe rookies that were all really clean. Like I said, a lot of these are probably grading potential. So these were priced at $50 each, which I was glad to pay. So that means I got them for like $35 each because the whole entire deal was 30% lower than the sticker price. This was the final card that I'll show. It was probably the find of the whole box. This is Lisa Leslie first auto, 2000 tops. They did this USA team autograph. I had never ever seen this before. Comps say that this is probably 200, maybe a little bit more, and I think it was priced at 70 in his box, which was a little. I had a little sticker shock when I was like, "Oh shit, $70! Am I sure about this one?" But I was glad I grabbed it. And then I saved this for last. This is from Everett himself. He opened a box of this Chrome anniversary stuff, and pulled the DJ LeMahieu gold autograph, and I was able to buy that from him right there the next day. It happens to be numbered 10 of 50. I don't know if you noticed that, Everett. Got my lucky.
I didn't even think about
P Daz 10, got my lucky number there. And the final card, just the smallest card in the stack, but it's really cool for one reason. Somebody gave me this.
Timeless treasure, or the timeless parallel.
Yep. This was given to me, and this is the reason. 23 of 1999. How sick is that? It just happens to be the jersey number of a card numbered to 1999. That's amazing.
Awesome.
Anyways, that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's what I ended up with. There were some other cards I won't show, but I ended up with a really nice group of cards and a bunch of cool stuff for me to, a little bit of a challenge for me to work through for grading or for show inventory down here in Florida. Like I never would have bought a Mike Allstott autograph or some of these other cards, but a lot of this is just great show inventory. Chris Carter autographs, you know, a lot of these are rookies, early year Randy Moss stuff. I just feel like I did something that I wouldn't normally do, and I felt really good about it after I did it because I ended up with some really cool cards, and it kind of opened my mind up to what I see at the shows. A lot of people ignore your cases, and they'll just dig through boxes at the table next to me, and I don't end up with the same traffic at my table because I don't have a lot of really good dig boxes, and there's a certain segment of the collector community that walk into a show and they don't really look in the cases at all. They just go straight to the boxes. So it was kind of cool to be on that side of it for once and find some really cool stuff.
I'll show you these, Paul, because you brought up the Paul O'Neill.
Oh
boy.
Oh boy. Oh God.
Oh God.
Let me hold on. I don't have my shoes or my glasses. Oh, there it is. Who is that?
Who do you think?
It's probably Mickey Mantle.
Josh Johnson.
Josh Johnson, baby. Both of them? Nice.
3.
Yeah, what a 6
3
set. Oh my God, you have 3 of. I almost picked up the DiMaggio from the set because a guy had it. I think he wanted a little bit too much for it though. Holy shit, you do have the autograph. Awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4. You are the best PC collector there is, dude. You truly are the GOAT. Huh? And I don't mean that by your beard.
I think I remember that DiMaggio, Paul. Was it like numbered to 10, if I remember right?
The Titanic Threads jersey. Yeah. I think they're numbered to 20. They might be 10, but I think they're 20. What are your Josh Johnson non-autos numbered to?
There's a silver, and that's, I think, to 99. And then the gold are to 10. Yeah, 99. The 10. Gold are to 10, and the autos are to 10.
I'm not positive about the Maggio off the top of my head.
But
I'm sure some players are numbered differently, though.
Contact Bob Lewis on those Randy Moss cards. Because he's a Moss guy. He's been doing a lot of that early run. He's been picking up some of the Raiders, some of the Patriot stuff, but he's been really focusing on that first few years, that first go around with the Vikings. So it would behoove him just to, because I know he would appreciate him and he would pay accordingly.
Sure, I absolutely will. Yeah, I got those are definitely cards I look to put out at my show, you know, $30, $50 cards, maybe a little more for a couple of them. But I think the potential for grading on a couple is pretty significant because they're pretty rare. So I'd be happy to move them to him if he's the, you know, a collector, you know.
Because I had a linchpins of him and I sold that to him.
Oh, wow, really?
So that and I'm obviously in Minnesota. I've got a little collection of Moss, but I'm like, I know he will enjoy it even more than I. So I'm like, I'm
sure.
We came to a fair price, and he was happy. I was happy. Everybody's happy, and that's what it's about in the end. When you're trying to sell to a friend, you don't want to sit there and pull the rug over his eyes or the wool over his eyes, and then that friendship turns sour, and then you're just like, for a card for $50, $100, whatever it is. It's like, nah, I don't know.
Totally. Yeah, that was kind of my thoughts with that pile. I was looking for real player collector type cards, you know, stuff that I was confident in that there are people out there that want them, even if the price I wasn't sure of. Because of the signal in there, people weren't even using their phones. I didn't even think about it with this stack. I was just trying to go off instinct in a way to see how good I could do on a nice stack. And I figured I'd put together a stack and hopefully I'd end up on the plus side, but it would be fun either way. So,
well, that's the thing. You see the sticker, you're like, fuck, I remember that. I like the all stock, like the Lisa Leslie. It's like and if we're collecting and we don't remember something, with all the magazines that were out then,
Correct.
and afterwards the forums, and then the advent of YouTube, it's like, if we haven't seen it,
Yep. And I'm at shows every weekend, and I look through, but yeah, and if I haven't seen this card, it's got to be pretty desirable. Yeah.
either that or it's like, man, it's not like, okay, it's from some like garbage pail regional issue out of Vermont in like
Right.
2008. It's a Topps issued auto. It's like, okay,
Yes, on
the
card.
USA,
Yeah.
so obviously those are going to carry some weight, and it's like, I have never seen this before. Where has this been hiding?
Pretty much how I felt.
But
Vinny, have you thought of anything?
It's an oddball question, but I know you probably don't look particularly for it. But was there any hockey presence? Because other sources said there was a very, very low amount. So I'm curious to see if you saw any.
I will say real quick, Everett, I did see a lot of it, but I was looking for it in a way because I knew that there were more international people going to be there, more Canadian dealers that are traditionally traveling to the U.S. to set up at the big shows, and they bring a lot of their hockey because they know they're going to be the only ones. New York and New Jersey, of course, are huge hockey areas. Of course, the local fans are very diehards for the team, so there was plenty of it. We have a couple dealers in the Southeast that specialize in it as well, and they're the only guys at every show that have hockey, so they sell a ton because they're the only guys, and they were set up there as well. I will say that what you find is that you have tables that have a lot of hockey, and they're the ones with the hockey, but then most tables have none. So I will agree. Yeah, most tables don't have any. They might have one. Like I'm a dealer that has zero hockey in my entire case, other than when I got back a PSA order, I had a couple cards and they sell. Boom, I'm done. I'm generally not replacing them because I'm not actively buying those items. I don't know the pricing very well. I'm not looking at them when I'm at shows, and I'm not looking at them when people walk up to my table normally. So it's a little harder to buy and sell something you're not familiar with in any way. But I did see a lot of it though, but it was probably the table that had so much, versus everybody having a little. It's not the same as a Joe Burrow or a Prism Zion where every table has a couple. Definitely not that way.
Makes sense for Dave and I think with his newfound love of Martin Brodeur.
Oh, really?
It's the we're looking at a Toronto Expo one of these days.
Oh yeah. You should definitely get up there. Jamie Lemire is usually there, and a few of the other old school YouTubers that we all know, or some of us know. That expo is supposedly a great show every time because it's like the one big show that they can all get to normally. So it's supposed to be really good. I've actually wanted to go up too. One of my buddies here in Tampa goes up there, and he does really well because he's able to bring stuff that they don't have, like desirable prospects and desirable basketball cards and higher end stuff. And he's able to walk away with great value on hockey and bring it down to Florida and sell it at shows.
Everett, I don't know what happened, but if you were trying to talk earlier, we
go ahead, Everett.
I don't even remember what I was trying to say earlier.
You were answering the question about hockey.
But I was going to say pretty much kind of what Paul said. If there was a table there was like a couple tables I remember that had almost exclusively hockey.
Exactly.
And then you would have your handful of tables, some tables that would have probably a Gretzky auto, a couple Gretzky's, maybe a Sid auto. Your big name hockey guys that you would expect maybe a table maybe to have. And then a bunch of tables, forget it. But I know there was I feel like it was some dealer from near Pittsburgh, but there was dealing in like game use sticks and whatnot. For the life of me, I can't remember the name of it, but it was someone that I think had to be somewhat local to the Pittsburgh area, had a bunch of like game use sticks and whatnot, practice use sticks.
Yeah.
Of a lot of the Penguin guys, but yeah, hockey. Put it this way: the only thing that probably was scarcer than hockey would have been NASCAR and golf. Well, actually, probably NASCAR. Golf, I think you probably could have found a little easier than NASCAR even.
Yeah, one of the guys that do our local show, and he is just hockey. All he does is name's Tim that Jeff just brought up because Jeff goes to a lot of our shows. he is exclusively hockey. And when we talk hockey, he's got it dating back to the 50s. He's got future watches, the young guns, the cup stuff, the exquisite stuff. Yeah. And most of the time he doesn't have, I go to the one show at the Elks just to go through his value boxes, because any other time he doesn't have room for them. We'll put it that way. Because his showcases are that good.
Stuffed.
They are stuffed, and there's just about everybody you can think of in those cases, and he turns the inventory. So he's a good dude. Like I say, I go exclusively to the Elks. I sit there for an hour and I go through the value boxes.
Awesome.
Because every time he goes to another show, he's buying, he's selling, and he's buying. And I'll keep paying for his tables through his value boxes.
Hey, yeah, good. That's a good kind of dealer to get to know.
Because I just put it down and he gets out his phone and he says, for you, it's this, but for you, it's this. That's the kind of dude that I'm going to, till I croak. That's the kind of dude I want to know, because it's mutually beneficial.
Yep.
So we've surpassed the 2 hours, 15-minute mark. We usually go 2.5 hours. Dave, we want to get some final thoughts from the guys and then close it off for this week.
Yes, I'll give because we're the beacons of negativity for the hobby. When everybody preaches, positivity, positive vibes, good vibes only.
Sheesh.
What? Exactly. What would be the one regret of the National this year? Everett, I'll let you go first.
Oh, one regret? Oh, well. But I guess my one regret would be I didn't plan out better 6 months in advance to take back a little more money. Even though I was able to do more wheeling and dealing than I expected, it never feels like at the end of the day you usually have as much as you want with you. Because I probably would have pulled off another move or two. And then my other regret pertains to the box Paul went through, in that I went through that box, I think, like the day after you did, and there was still some really good stuff in there. But that was like one of the few dealers to where had a value box where there was some really, really good cards in there, like
fresh stuff.
Like, I know I picked up a couple Hall of Fame autos, game used from that box, football game used, and it was like, this is stuff that I wish would have been more readily found at more of the tables at the show. It's like stuff that we probably would have been able to find in boxes 5-6 years ago. I remember one of the Nationals in Cleveland when UD Legends autos. I mean, that's the sort of stuff you just do not really find anymore, or if you find it, it's a lot rarer to find. It's definitely not as plentiful as it used to be a few years ago. And I'm definitely wishing I would have kind of stumbled on those value boxes Wednesday or Thursday. Because I bought about $250 in sticker for $200. The dealer was, you didn't even have to negotiate. He was being unbelievably reasonable.
Yeah, Keith is a great dealer. That was Keith Newhart, by the way. If you guys know Newhart Cards, he's a great guy.
And in his showcases, he had some unbelievable stuff. My other regret was there was a Bill Russell auto I was debating on Thursday.
I guess that was a regret of mine too. I've been wanting to pick one up. Oh well.
Show from Sport Kings. I was. I've totally missed the boat on that at this point. But yeah, I guess other than the usual, didn't quite plan as far ahead as I thought I did, and then maybe look or one or two spots a little earlier, but nothing too egregious.
I would agree. I think my only real regret is just the planning aspect of it. I think if I was more prepared and more aware of where to stay and how much money to bring and that kind of stuff, I could have brought more, could have sold more beforehand. I've been on the fence of selling some judges now that his numbers are really starting to get up there, and I'm just one of those guys. It's so hard to let go of my cards because I love them so much, but the numbers are getting up there where I think I have to justify keeping the rest by selling some. I got to sell some of the cards, and I could have done that before National, but I guess I probably would have lost money because they've gone up again since because he just keeps performing. And then I would say, as far as staying there, I probably wouldn't have stayed at the Bally's, which is right there on the boardwalk. I stayed at Borgata the first night because you guys probably remember Frank, No Limit Frank Tanza. He was been around the community for a long time. He gets comped at the Borgata. I guess he's a bit of a high roller, as they say. But he offered me to stay there the one night because my reservations weren't until Wednesday. So I stayed there and I fell in love with that place. That place is amazing. It's like a Disney resort practically. It's beautiful, friendly, nice, clean. It's like 3 miles away on the marina, I guess it's called. But then you go over to the boardwalk and the Caesars and the Trop and the Bally's, which is right there. They really are a dump, if you will. They're really kind of scary and run down, and it's pretty bad. So I think my only regret would be to invest in myself a little bit more and pay for better accommodations, be willing to spend the money. Sometimes it's okay to, it's a vacation after all, right? So, you don't have to always try to save on every single aspect of it. But I think if there was one thing I wish I would have spent a little more money on, it would have been making better reservations and just being more comfortable. So I didn't have to deal with the of being on the boardwalk and having to get Ubers back and forth so many times and walking. Maybe it would have ended up saving me money, honestly, saving me time from having to walk so much and Uber so many times. So that's probably it, man. As far as cards go, I don't really have any regrets. I think it was a great show for me as far as the cards go. Saw everybody I wanted to see, hung out with all the friends, reconnected with so many people. I really think the only regret would just be on the planning side. What about you guys? Any regrets for not going?
No,
yeah,
not when it comes to this vacation. That
yeah, you got other things going on. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. This one will hold, and this is not a slap to any of the guys or anybody that I'd love to still meet, because it's still on my bucket list. This is one of those in which I wouldn't trade hanging out with you guys for spending time with the family. I just family's always at the top of the list, or it should be.
Amen.
So I really, really, really looking forward to this, and it hasn't been cheap, to say the least. And we haven't even gotten there yet.
I get
but
that.
All going to be worth it all in the end. So
excited for next year.
I'll be there.
Once, don't answer.
I'll be there.
How about you, Dave? You gonna go? Yeah, sweet. Oh, yeah. I know. Now next year when I come on, I know who I'm gonna answer when the question comes up of who I'm glad I finally got to meet. This guy right here.
I don't know if anybody can say that. Again, the last time I was there was 11. That's when Ryan Neal had set up in their first time at the National.
Wow.
That 11. Was like meeting Crazy. I am 140, meeting Scott 2244, Wilkie, Sichtifer. Just because he still has that picture of everybody in front of their table at that first National in the shop in I think it's O'Fallon, Missouri, right outside of St. Louis there. I've seen them a couple times at their trade nights that they had before in May, I think. And that was in 16 and 17. And so I got to see a few guys then. I saw Smitty, JW Smitty, and then who else? Michael Phillips.
I was going to say Michael was there.
Yep.
And Bears player 23, Zach Parsons. He was down there. And then Johnny Summers, IUND 2009.
Summers, yep.
and then Tyson.
Tyson.
I wish Ben would go to one, but I know him and Elon, if they could go to a show, I'd be like, that would be magic.
Oh boy, if Elon went to one, oh boy.
I think he'll be back eventually.
2009, we roomed together in 2009 in Cleveland, and that was a fucking disaster. That was just,
oh God.
That was probably my most fun, because that was pre YouTube, and then 11 was after being in the community for about a year and change. So then you knew so many more people, and that's always what I've said. If you've been on forums, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, whatever the case may be, you can build up. It used to be joked about as internet friends. Like you said before, like you have all these people, man, you're going to this show and you're meeting all these guys or staying with guys that you've never met. It's like, yeah, like, are you sure you're not going to get like killed or gang raped or something?
My mom still tells me, be safe. I'm like, I'm 45, Mom. I'm just going to a card show. They're not murderers. Be safe.
Oh God, be safe.
They say kill him with kindness, right? Kill him with cardboard.
Hey, the Texas nuts could be deadly.
Yeah. Four sharp corners.
Exactly.
Hey now, but if you kill him with that, it might not be a BGS 10 anymore.
No, it would not.
Probably would be an HGA 10 still, but
I would like to see the label they'd make for the bloody cornered card there. It'd be amazing customization on their part.
Well, that would be called the Ray Lewis or OJ special.
Oh God, we should do one of these and just talk about HGA for a while. That'd be amazing.
Oh God.
Oh man.
So yeah,
No,
I'm looking forward to it.
Huh?
I'm looking because again, I like food.
Yeah.
Obviously, my fattening tour can really amp up.
I'm looking forward to being a part of that.
Giordano's, Portillo's, and I know there's some other good pizza spots down that are like holes in the wall. I think on lakes somewhere down that way, and I'm like, I'm all about traveling for food. I can, if we get to miss a little bit of a card show or the show or something, I can live with that. For food, I can do that. Especially when you band together a handful of fellas or collectors. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Again, I'm sure I'm going to get frustrated right away because I fucking hate people. So it's going to be just like douchebags and tripods and whatever those sticks are that hold the cell phone out and fucking
tripod.
I'm going to fucking bat those out of the air. You'll see me in a lot of those influencer videos. I know Bob said he didn't do a good job. I will. Believe me. If I see fuckhead. Yeah.
Wear your IRP shirt, Dave.
Wow.
I'll have the card, but I'll be like Sign Guy Dudley. I'll just have like the watch IRP Tuesday nights and
Sign Guy.
Probably get kicked out, but
oh well.
Yeah,
it'd be worth it.
Oh, absolutely. So with that, I want to thank Everett. I want to thank Paul. I want to thank Mr. Lewis joining us tonight, regaling us with tales of debauchery, chicanery, tomfoolery, bewilderment, excitement, and pure unadulterated joy from this past national, the 42nd or 43rd, I don't remember.
42nd.
I think so, yeah.
So, hope everybody watched or watches in the archive learned something. Again, just a different perspective where...
Me too, Joey.
Me too.
Hashtag me too.
It's going to be interesting. I know it'll be interesting because it just will. Because my give a fuck button broke a long time ago. I don't know if any of you guys know that, but it really did.
I'm sure glad I'm sitting down. That was a revelation.
I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to get you back across the border once we go to Canada.
Swim.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to get you back.
Swim.
It's going to be rough because we're going to have to bail you out of something.
Just bribe them with maple syrup and Canadian bacon. You'll be fine.
We could do that.
Or something. We'll figure it out. Well, that'll have to be part of the planning that we learned about tonight.
Planning.
It's all
Yes,
about
planning.
the setup, Dave. We got to have a proper
Planning.
setup.
Set it up properly. Remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Send us money. Well-concealed cash, checks, money orders.
Yeah.
Our Patreon, our Venmo, our crypto wallet, our OnlyFans, of course. We have a Discord server, of course. That's hopping with 3 people, I think. Again, for Everett, for Paul, for Vinny, for Steve, I'm Dave. This has been the Insert Revolution podcast. Remember, collecting cards, it's a world of fun. The friendships that you forge in this hobby along the way, that's what really matters. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Peace out.
Amen to that. Good night.